Since everything starts with self, let me hold this mirror up and take a look at myself. Before I judge you, I gotta check myself. And I come to find out that that's good for my health, right? Change your mind and watch the whole body follow. So you won't hear me talking about I'm hitting you with hollows. I can't do it, got plans for tomorrow. And I ain't trying to bring my seeds no type of sorrow. Wait, cause fake rappers do fake-ish. I mean, most of basic get replaced quick. I'll never sacrifice my soul. Truth is, so I might never get 1 million records sold. But that's cool, cause I'm good with the creator. He nurtured my thoughts, so I present you with verbal flavor. You never listen to what no haters say. We pray for them, but we gon' move it this way. We moving forward, y'all.
We can do anything. We can't be worried about what they say. My brother, my sister, just believe in yourself. Believe in your skin. Believe in your health. Believe in yourself. Believe in your talk. Believe in your walk. Believe in yourself. Believe in your skin. Believe in your health. Believe in yourself.
I feel like George Floyd, yo, I can't breathe. It's hard to conceive on why they wanna kill we. I think they wanna break our spirit, the youth won't hear it. We die over loose, these cops scared to quit it. I send my love to Eric Gardner's family, cause them pigs went and took away somebody's daddy. Sands with Bland, Trayvon Martin, Ahmaud Arbery. The world sees what's happening. Yeah, so in the midst of our hardest pain, we believe in ourselves and face our darkest days. You know, they be mad when we come together. So after the protest, stick together. Take the pledge, I will fight but won't kill a brother. Cause I can't take your life if you are my brother. So I'ma send you love, not one shell casing. Believe in yourself and change our situation. Yeah.
Believe in your skin. Believe in your health. Believe in yourself. Believe in your talk. Believe in your walk. Believe in yourself. Believe in your skin. Believe in your health. Believe in yourself. Believe in your talk. Believe in your walk. Believe in yourself.
All right, y'all know what to do. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see me. We're gonna go ahead and get into it. Shout out to everybody who's been in the building, back in the building, I should say. Good to see everybody in here. We got something a little bit different for y'all today. Hopefully y'all are doing well. Thank you for dropping the 1s in the chat. I see y'all up in here. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. We should be looking good. We've already done this once before. Let me see. Yes. I'm a little off center though, and I don't like it. We gonna fix that. We gonna fix it and make it right. Hopefully y'all don't see my screen. Oh my gosh. All right. Anyway, welcome y'all. Welcome back to another YouTube live stream and another episode of the Music Morning Show in the afternoon. We are taking no days off and we are back at it with more of this coverage from the Young Dolph trial, which is allegedly finishing up today. It's crazy, man. Memphis is not playing around. So we're probably going to get into the closing statements and the end of the trial tomorrow sometime, as YSL is not going to be in court until Monday. So thank you to everybody who's here. If y'all could do me a favor, make sure you like the video on your way in. Not only does it help the show continue to grow, but it lets the YouTube algorithm know you guys are enjoying the show and it shares it with more people. Now, I know y'all are seeing the title of this video. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here, because as we saw yesterday, this man, oh man, Justin Johnson is in a lot of trouble. He has the guy who allegedly worked with him to do the shooting of young Dolph on the stand saying, yeah, he did this, he did that. We went here, we did this, we did that. And he's not holding back. So again, things are moving pretty quick. We're going to go ahead and get into it. But before we do, let me say what's up to the people first. Shout out to everybody who's in here. We got Amy in the building reminding y'all to like the video. Steph is in here. Granny of 5, Valencia, Michi, Black Astrology Media, Wave, Lori. Shout out to Wave Lori in the building. Latanya is back in here too. Yeah, Black Astrology Media says, yes, because of the hurricane, there is no YSL trial until Monday. So everything is shut down here in Fulton County. Schools, all the court buildings. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes. Just make sure y'all stay safe. And to everybody who's being affected by this, we will definitely be praying for you guys and make sure that you guys, if you need any support and help, that you reach out, because I know it's about to be crazy. Make sure y'all get up out of there too. It's not worth it. You got one life. Shout out to Carmaine is in the building too. Let's go ahead and get right into it. So what I want to do is we're actually going to review a little bit of what we saw from yesterday, and then we'll jump ahead and listen to this police officer who actually first responded to the scene and then started to do more of the investigation. He's talking in this instance about what happened when they found the Mercedes, what they found on the Mercedes 3 days after the shooting took place. And as we know from one of the defendants in this trial, that they cleaned everything on the car for the most part. There were still some fingerprints there, but the detectives had a hard time finding any evidence in the car. And that's what he's going over here. All right. Shout out to Ulster, man. I see you in here as well. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Yes. And you said there were letters. That's like an A.
Let me see. Yeah. There we go.
Here we have back of the car B. Closer up on that. I'm going for the record. 48, 44, C, 51, D, 52, E. Various license plates found in the car.
Yes.
45, Mississippi plate.
And they left the license plates in there and everything.
A couple of Illinois plates. 47, close up of that Mississippi plate. Now, processing the car, that's something the crime scene does, is that correct?
It is.
And they tried to lift what fingerprints they have from the car, is that correct?
That's correct.
And then they try to compare those prints to any sort of known individuals that may be in the system or whatever it is that they have fingerprints for.
And the sound is, it sounds like they're in the wind tunnel, so y'all bear with the sound.
That they were able to lift some prints from the car.
Correct.
That they were able to identify.
Yes.
All right. In particular, I want to ask you about these, okay?
Okay.
This is from the 2014 Mercedes. Prints lifted from the right rear quarter panel marked D. So we saw a picture of that, the back of the car?
Yes.
Outside?
Outside.
Were found to be the fingerprint impression belonging to Cornelia Smith.
Yes.
Now, the interesting thing we saw about this yesterday is Justin Johnson's fingerprints were not found in this car. No blood, no anything, no nothing. So it's kind of strange.
Because we got his prints on the outside back of this car.
Yes.
Prints lifted from the outside left door marked A. I think that's the driver's side door. We saw a picture of it.
Were there Justin Smiths?
Kristen Garner.
Kristen Garner.
Does that become a name you're interested in?
It does.
More prints. This one from the trunk lid marked C also belonged to Kristen Gardner. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then we have some prints lifted from one of those tags, the Mississippi tag that we saw 2 pictures of. They also belong to Kristen Gardner.
Yes.
And then prints lifted from the rear quarter panel marked B and the outside left door marked A, and from a brochure, a bank brochure that was found in the car, all belong to Treon Ingram.
Treon, correct.
A name that you're interested in?
Yes.
All right, so at this point we have found the murder car.
Yes.
We have found prints from that car that belonged to Cornelia Smith, to Kristen Garner,
Correct.
And to Treon Ingram.
Correct.
Okay. Do we also process or attempt to process the car for any DNA or blood or like fluid evidence?
That's some crime scene. Officers would.
crime scene attempts to do that.
Yes.
And then if they're able to find anything or think they may have found something, would they send that then to TBI or anything like that?
Yes, they can send it out to TBI.
Okay. Are you aware that they found they were unable to find any DNA or blood or fluid or whatever evidence from inside the car?
No, we wouldn't able to find it.
From anybody? Did you become aware in the course of the investigation that the car may have been clean?
Yes, during the course of that investigation.
But still, if the car was clean, what does that have to do with Justin Johnson? I don't know. I'm missing it. Steph said carpet court. The wind, yeah, we're in the wind tunnel carpet court. Lord.
We are
That's
now
funny stuff.
interested, if I understand you right, in a couple different people. Kiana's cousin, Cornelia Smith, fingerprints.
Yes.
Kirsten Garner, fingerprints.
Right.
And Treon Ingram.
Straight
Justin Johnson, no
Let's take
fingerprints.
Treon Ingram first. Did you want to talk to him?
Yes, we did.
Did they find him?
Located.
Took him in custody?
Yes.
I don't want you to tell us what he said, but as a result of that conversation, did you go back to Memphis and try to get some more video?
Yes, we did.
Tell me about that.
We, information that we received of a white Mercedes being in a parking garage in Crosstown area.
Okay. And did you also receive information about a white Mercedes-Benz at the Valero gas station the morning of, night before, however you want to look at it, of the homicide itself?
We did.
Let's go in reverse order of what you wanted to go in.
Which is crazy that they were able to find out that where the Mercedes was. It's kind of crazy.
With the Valero.
Somebody just called to say, hey, we saw
Did
the
you go, after
Mercedes.
speaking with Treon Ingram, did you
Wow.
go to or did y'all go to the Valero station, Park and Highland, sort of University of Memphis area, in Memphis?
I did.
Were you able to obtain video?
We were able to obtain the.
In that video, did y'all see the white Mercedes?
We did.
Did you see a couple of those people that we talked about fingerprints? Did you see Treon Ingram?
Yes.
Did you see Kirsten Garner?
Yes.
Did you see a car drake?
We did.
A little weird.
Yes.
But you witnessed it on the video?
We did.
And what do we mean by car trade?
We have individuals in one car that get out of that car and get to the other car that someone was in. And that person get out of that car and get to the white
But
car.
why?
Before we watch this video, do we see a Infiniti pull up at the gas station?
We do.
And do we see the white Mercedes pull up at the gas station?
We do.
Do we see interaction between the two cars?
Yes.
Do we see Mr. Ingram, Treon Ingram, go inside the gas station?
Inside the business, yes.
Do we see that there's a person left inside the Infiniti
We do.
in the passenger side?
That's
And they had previously also committed a crime in this Mercedes as well.
Do
So
we
that's something to
see
keep in
Kirsten
mind.
Garner driving the white Mercedes?
We do.
Do we see him pumping gas in the white Mercedes?
We do.
Then do we see the two cars together pull around to the side of the business?
We do.
And an individual, we see Kirsten get out of the car, is that correct?
Correct.
And another individual get inside the white Mercedes.
Inside the white Mercedes.
Valero video?
And then they're going to show the gas station video.
Sorry, outside. All right, Valero gas station, November 17th. I'm back to black screen. November 17th, 2021. We're at 3:16 a.m. in the morning, 9 hours before the murder.
Yes.
And this part is pretty anticlimactic. All they show is the guys getting in and out of the car. And then you have a couple of them going into the gas station. We got Kirsten here.
You said you're interested in the Valero station,
Yes.
and then you said you were also, after going down to Mississippi and meet with Mr. Ingram, interested in Crosstown.
Crosstown, correct.
What is Crosstown?
It's a apartment kind of everything. It used to be the old Sears building, apartment store.
Yep, y'all be safe in this storm.
Restaurants, storefronts, also apartments.
Did Kiana have a cousin that lived at the Crosstown Apartments?
Yes, she did.
I guess at the time, one that was living at the Crosstown Apartments.
Yeah.
And what was his name?
His name was Justin Johnson.
Justin Johnson. Did y'all obtain video from the Crosstown Apartments?
Yes, we did.
The video from the day before the homicide, 11/16,
Yes.
the morning of the homicide,
Yes.
and then the evening
Yeah.
after the homicide.
Yes.
Yeah, they're already on closing statements
In those
today,
videos,
Steph.
Will we see Justin Johnson?
Yes, we will.
Will we see him wearing clothing like the shooter?
We did.
Bass Pro hat,
Bass Pro hat,
hoodie,
hoodie,
sweatpants,
sweatpants,
emblem,
and
shoes.
white bottom.
So basically what they're showing is that Justin Johnson was wearing the same outfit that the shooter wore. And that's really the main thing they have to put him at the scene. It's just dumb on his part, but what are you gonna do?
Will we see him arriving at Crosstown in the white Mercedes
We did.
with the body damage?
That and the testimony of a snitch.
Will we see him leaving less than an hour before the homicide in that outfit, in the white Mercedes with the body damage?
We did.
Now, y'all had also been interested in a white expedition.
That's it.
Will we see him arriving in a white expedition?
We did.
And then after the murder, will we see him arriving in different clothes
Yes.
and then packing his bags and leaving?
I think, yes.
It's a series of videos.
Yes,
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 6 or 7 or 8 videos. It's also a series of still shots. If anybody needs a break, maybe now would be the time.
This will be a good time. Yeah. Let's take
All right, so they're gonna take a break about 20 minutes, and we're gonna skip ahead here to when they come back in, and the police officer or former police officer that's on the stand right now is gonna tell a little bit more of the story of what happened. Yep. What's up, Rebecca?
All right, it's still you.
Yes.
There's some more videos. You were telling us about Crosstown, is that right?
That's correct.
You said there's some apartments there?
Yes.
You said that Kiona had a cousin named Justin Johnson who lives there, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right. Y'all collected videos?
Thank you, Granny.
Let's start with the first video. Let's start with the light screen for me. November 16th, 2021. This is the day before the murder, is that correct?
That's correct.
7:15 p.m. So if we're counting down, 17 hours and 8 minutes before the murder. What's that?
And that's the white expedition, Ford expedition, going into the garage.
And if you're not familiar with the building, this is a little confusing here. You can pause it. So that white expedition was going into a parking garage, is that right?
Yes.
That parking garage is this structure right here.
That's correct. Parking lot in between.
There's a little parking lot here
Yes.
where cars can also park in, but the actual garage, what we saw the white expedition coming into, was over here.
It is.
Is that right?
That's right.
Then there's this little
What's up with this camera view? This is weird.
Walk
that
right around.
twists around and then comes into the building.
Yes.
Okay. And we see somebody here, gray sweatpants, black hoodie. You can continue to watch. Inside of the building,
Inside of the building.
walking into the door there,
Yes.
white expedition arrives, and then this man comes into the building.
Correct. Dark hoodie, gray sweat, black shoes, white bottom.
He walked here, and then this camera picked him up. There's a bank of elevators back here.
Yes.
There's apartments on the top floors of the buildings.
Yes.
Still way back here at the elevators.
Yes.
So these are two different views.
Good. All right, here's a man, white expedition, comes into the building, walks to the lobby, gets in the elevator,
Dang.
comes up to the floor.
They got him.
Look, it's floor 8.
Yes.
What floor does Kiana Hopper's cousin Justin Johnson live on?
What is, ID is, 808. Yes. 84.
8th floor. And this man has on black shoes, white soles,
Yes.
gray sweatpants. A little emblem on the sweatpants.
Logo inside. Yes.
We all recognize that method as a Bass Pro hat, is that right?
Yes.
He's got a phone in his hand,
Yes.
maybe some food or something.
Yes.
So this is all they're using to show that Justin was at the crime scene.
All right. All right. We are
Interesting.
November 16th, so that same day. Now we're at 11:13 p.m. Countdown from the murder. We're 13 hours and 10 minutes before the murder. There's going to be him coming again. White expedition.
White expedition.
Now we can see that parking garage better. Just like last time, coming in the front.
Yes.
Gonna walk to the elevators. And obviously between last time, which was a few hours before this, and this time he has left and come back.
Come back. Yes.
I think it stopped ours.
Hurricane party. Yeah.
If it was still playing on our laptop, but it wasn't playing on the video, so we'll have to try the on and off of it. Who cares?
On and off appears to be working.
I think it was at 111.
Yeah, the codependent, he did take a plea. Yeah.
Okay. Walking to the back of the elevators.
Yes.
Yeah, we're all good stuff. Just a few trees to worry about. That's about it.
Shoes, Bass Pro hat, sweatshirt.
Yes.
The last one we saw was from 11 at night, November 16th. Now, we've passed midnight, and so technically we're on the day of the murder.
Correct.
And we're at 2:41 a.m., is that correct?
That's correct.
And to orient ourselves, the Valero video that we saw of the Mercedes trade
Yes.
is going to be after this video, is that right?
That's correct.
So 2:41 at Crosstown, Valero video after the 3 o'clock hour.
Correct.
Wow.
Shoes, sweatpants, hoodie.
Yes.
This time the hood on.
Yeah, y'all be safe out there. Why wouldn't you change your clothes, man? Come on.
Come to the elevator. parking garage.
To the parking garage.
Dang.
To the white expedition.
Correct. Leaving.
This is before. This is all happening before.
So it's leaving the building at 2:41. Whatever happens at Valero happens in about 30 minutes or something. And now to the next video. We are November 17th. Well, now we're at 4:48.
It says 7 hours and 35 minutes before the murder.
Valero happens after the 3 o'clock hour.
Correct.
And now back to the building at 4:48.
Correct.
We are 7 hours to homicide time.
Brother was wearing the same clothes.
Back to the building, what?
And the white Mercedes with the damage.
Can you back it up a little bit, Sabe?
Take care, Melissa.
That one before was perfect. There you go. We know that car, don't we?
That's the car that we located. That's also the car in video at the Keys Cookies with the damage.
Okay.
Passenger side rear side panel.
Okay.
Yeah, like haven't you seen enough 007 movies? Like, why would you wear the same clothes? Aren't you? It's like they wanted to get caught.
Let's come back in the white Mercedes, but also we'll see closer. I just in the elevator.
Yes. Carrying something.
It's actually Karen's daughter, is that right?
Oh, yes.
And if we back it up just for a second.
If I had to guess, I would say Memphis or Chicago.
We got sweatpants and shoes and sweatshirt, and now he's carrying his daughter.
Carrying his daughter.
And now, November 17th, murder day, 11:51 a.m. We're only 32 minutes away from the murder of the kids.
Yes.
This is 30 minutes before.
Let me stop for a second. These people aren't from Memphis. Would it be fair to say it takes 10 minutes to get from the Crosstown building to McCabe's Cookies?
Possibly 10, 15 minutes.
10 to 15. Shoes, sweatpants, sweatshirt, Bass Pro hat.
Yes.
His daughter's with him.
Yes.
Dang. He had his daughter with him, and then he got the... And in case you're wondering, the prosecution is questioning the police officer who investigated this as well. That's crazy, though. This is all 30 minutes before the shooting took place. He's taking his daughter. Golly. Nasty, nasty, nasty.
appears to be on the phone.
Oh, look at her. She's so little.
You can back it up. It's hard for me to see them there. We can back it up. I'll put the pointer on. You see who they are?
Right.
The little kid. Sweatpants, sweatshirt. Now they're going in the garage.
Yeah.
And they're even in the white Mercedes. And white Mercedes actually was captured here, leaving the garage.
Wow.
Starts first this way, but then
Mhm.
white Mercedes leaving the Crosstown building 37 minutes before the homicide.
So they've got Justin driving the car. I don't know how they're gonna explain this.
From these videos, y'all developed a couple of, or more than a couple, still shots, is that correct?
Yes.
Slowed it down to this one already. Tell me what this is.
This is a photo of Mercedes-Benz with the damage to the battery.
Thank you. I would enter that into Mr. State's next under exhibit.
No objection.
Yeah.
Picture of
I agree, John. It is.
rear passenger side. Your mark is exhibit number 54.
This is from Crosstown, is that right?
That's correct.
Bam.
What is this?
This is a still image from Crosstown video of the white Ford Expedition.
We offer that in evidence of State's next under exhibit.
No objection.
This is a picture of the back of a Ford white Ford Expedition. Your mark is exhibit number 55.
Expedition across town.
Shout out to Grace in the building.
Next picture.
This is a photo of Justin Johnson on the elevator in the Crosstown concourse. He has the Bass Pro hat on, the black hoodie with sweats with the logo, the black shoes with white soles. And also see a distinctive tattoo on his hand.
And does he in fact have those tattoos on his hands?
Yes.
We offer that in evidence of State's next under exhibit.
No objection.
Thank you. This is a picture of Justin Johnson on an elevator with a cup and bag in his hand with black hoodie, gray sweatpants, black shoes with white on the top with some sort of tattoo on his ankle. Mark is exhibit number 56.
For the jury. I know I asked you, but this is in fact a tattoo that he has to his hand, saying Justin Johnson.
Yes.
Hold on.
You got his name tattooed on his hand.
Also a photo of across town from the video still shot. Justin Johnson is carrying a little backpack that he has his daughter with him. Appears to be on the phone. You still can see the tattoo on his hand with the Bass Pro Shop hat, black hoodie, gray sweats, and black shoes.
And this is when he's leaving about 37 minutes before the murder.
Yes.
Make some videos.
This is a picture of defendant Justin Johnson with the same clothing on, black sweatshirt, gray sweats, black and white shoes with the Bass Pro hat on, holding a backpack with a little girl with it.
Almost done with you up there. Okay. You had mentioned something earlier that I wanted people to see, not so much on that screen where it's blurry, but better in the still shots.
Okay.
Can you tell me what's in these two photographs?
There's a photo at Makita's cookie shop on Airways where you have two suspects running away back to the white Mercedes. You can also see
This looks pretty bad.
suspect in the dark hoodie, black hoodie with the gray sweats and the black shoes. But you can also see how his pants are sagging and his blue underwear showing.
You mentioned when we watched the Haven Court two-lane videos about seeing the Bass Pro suspects' underwear, is that right?
Correct.
And it having a blue look to it?
Yes.
And you mentioned about saggy pants.
Yes.
Looking at that man's underwear.
Still shots from the murder video.
And see both.
Or this collective exhibit.
No objection.
All right, I got two still photos. The first one is of two suspects with weapons running away.
This is pretty old.
Described as Makita's cookie shop towards a white Mercedes. One of the suspects' pants is sagging. The second photo is a more apparent photo running away.
Submitting all this evidence in.
Can I pass this to the jury? No.
Yes.
He said that Marsha Brady's mom decorated the court. Yeah. Yeah, this courtroom is from the 60s for sure. Y'all are crazy. All right, let's skip ahead here.
His cell phone.
We do.
There we go.
Cornelius. Cornelius is for people around Cornelius. Are we interested in arresting Cornelius?
Yes.
Cornelius, does he get arrested?
Yes, he does.
Do y'all get in possession of Cornelius's cell phone?
We do.
Do y'all tag that into evidence?
We did.
And do y'all submit that to your people for whatever analysis they can do?
Yes.
And among those people, is that Jesse Brown and Michael Gardner?
That is.
We'll hear from them later in the trial.
Correct.
Justin. Caught a video across town.
Yes.
Mercedes, Expedition, two-lane apartments.
Yes.
Interested in arresting Justin.
Yes.
Do y'all go to where he lives?
Yes.
Is he there?
No, it's not.
Do y'all go to other places looking for him?
Yes, we do.
Is he there?
No.
Is there a citywide manhunt for him?
It was.
Is he found?
He's later found, yes.
Is he found in Memphis?
No, he's found Indianapolis, somewhere near.
Indianapolis.
Yes.
Y'all also interested in Justin Johnson's phone?
We were.
You're interested in the phone he had with him at the time of the murder.
Yes.
Did they get it?
Was that found with him or with somebody else?
I believe that was found with someone else.
Okay, in fact, was it found with his brother, Jamarcus?
Marcus, yes, Johnson.
And did y'all talk to Jamarcus?
We did.
And did Jamarcus turn that phone over to y'all?
We did.
And y'all give that phone to your phone people, Jason Brown and Michael Gardner,
We did.
to look at it?
Look at
So they got his phone. What did he say?
I forgot to ask you about one Carlstown video. Okay, so this is out of order, but asking the questions about Mr. Johnson leaving town, it reminded me. Okay. November 17th.
Amy, come on. That man
7
clearly
hours
has.
after the murder.
Come on. Don't do that. And this is taking place almost 8 hours after the murder. I mean, you would feel bad if he's a former, if he's a vet.
Outside's almost impossible.
He's a
to see.
military
You're so far
vet.
away, but individual's going to arrive in an entirely different car.
Jeez.
This is not the Expedition or the Mercedes.
that was right.
Yeah. He is a Amy. Jesus.
This is that middle ground between the parking garage and the building. And with the lights and stuff, the blur and everything, things become clearer when you walk in the building.
Y'all are messed up.
The yellow hoodie now, right?
Yellow hoodie, correct.
We saw that at Haven Court in the 2 lanes, didn't we?
We did.
I don't know if you could tell from that video or if it will show, but no longer in the shoes, is that correct? And some slides.
Yes.
That's a good question, Starfish and Coffee.
It was 7 hours after the murder.
Yes.
Jeez, this man must have been on some good stuff. He's over here chilling, allegedly, 7 hours after he got shot. Lord. Probably on the 8th floor. Yep, you can see number 8 right there. Went back up to the 8th floor.
And now we're at 8 p.m., approximately 8 hours after the murder. Bags packed.
Look at this man. He just got shot over there chilling. He's got a little bit of a limp. You can see in that right leg. Probably high as a... I don't know what. Third, say he's jacked on Mountain Dew.
Going to wherever.
Yes.
Next time we see him in person, is arrested in Indianapolis.
In Indianapolis, yes.
He has social media though too. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And did you and Detective Browning subpoena and obtain some of his social media?
It was.
His Instagram, his Facebook?
Yes.
He was posting on social media after he got shot.
Until the time that he's in custody in Indianapolis, are
He's
y'all able
cold.
to obtain images that he posts to social media?
They were obtained, yes. From his phone.
And Detective Browning
Yes.
may be the expert on this stuff.
Yes, he is.
All right, we'll see those later with Detective Brown.
Yes.
Murder weapons ever found?
No.
Big Jook. His name came up in this, is that correct?
That's correct.
That's
He's testified to this already, but
Yo Gotti's brother.
he's now deceased, is that correct?
That's correct.
He gone.
Since he's deceased, he cannot be prosecuted.
Right.
Hernandez Govan,
It's another name came up in the investigation.
arrested and charged.
Yes.
That's all my questions, Judge.
All right.
All right, that's it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's lunchtime. Fire protection will be with us.
All right, so in Memphis, they take a long lunch. What did we learn? Well, these guys were idiots, but we kind of already knew that. So first off, Justin was in the building. He left. He took his daughter. He had the Mercedes that was used in the alleged crime. And he had it 30 minutes before the shooting of Dolph took place. Then he left, came back wearing the clothes that you saw him wearing in the previous video where he's at the at his cousin's house, I believe he said it was. Then he comes back to that apartment and then he leaves with all his stuff in his hand. So, man, not the greatest look for Justin. It's not looking good for our guy. Well, y'all's guy. They ain't my guy. If y'all could take a second, like a video. I want to read a couple super chats and then we'll keep it moving through. Let me see. Did I miss any? Oh, okay. No, I didn't miss any super chats. I got them earlier. So let's go ahead and skip ahead to, boy, they love their lunch over in Memphis. All right, here we go. We got the waterfall going inside the court. Y'all hear that? It's beautiful. So now the defense is going to question the police officer on the stand. He said, bright ass yellow hoodie.
Good afternoon, Sergeant Daddy.
Good afternoon.
First, let me just say, I feel for you. I was in that same predicament about 2 years ago.
Thank you, Jack.
So I hope you feel better soon. So I want to go over some of the things you testified to when you were in direct with the state, okay?
Yes, sir.
A couple of things you talked about is one of the lead detectives on this case, and this is your role anytime you approach a crime scene. All right, I think you testified that you're there to collect facts.
Correct.
Try to preserve evidence.
Correct.
Right? So that you can investigate and find out who done it, essentially, correct?
Correct.
Agree with me, it's super important when you're going on a crime scene to preserve the crime scene,
Correct.
right? Because you don't want to corrupt evidence, is that correct?
Correct.
You also want to exhaust every avenue possible to try to find evidence. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so that's why you said you talked about forensic testing. You collect things in a certain way on a crime scene so that you can then provide that to CSI or the TDI or whoever that actually test it to see if it can give you more information. Is that fair?
Fair.
Now, a couple of things. I'll start with the initial video. I'm going to try to go in chronological order as to how you hit it earlier on direct. You talked about the handgun and the rifle, style, assault rifle style weapon in the video. And at one point in time, you said that the handgun that was being held by one of the people was consistent with a .40 caliber. It's probably more accurate to say, it's consistent with any pistol. Could have been any caliber pistol, correct?
Correct.
Just by looking.
Just by
Right. And when you say consistent with a .40 caliber, you're really basing that off of the shell casings you would have found out in the parking lot. Is that correct?
showcase and handgun.
Okay. But there was nothing significant that you can tell from that video that can tell you that's a .40 caliber versus a 9mm versus a .380 or a .45. Okay. Now, you testified that you never recovered the murder weapons, correct?
Correct.
And you were asked a question of, in kind of normal course, if you recover bullets from a scene, right, and or casings from a scene, and you have a weapon you can test it against, that you can take the ballistics and they can run testing to see if it matches. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, what you getting at,
Now,
brother?
even if you don't recover the weapon, is it possible to determine a caliber, what potential caliber a fired bullet would have been? So, you pull a fired bullet from the wall at Makita Cookie or from some other place where those bullets went. Is there a way to test that and go, is this a .40 caliber? Is this a .7.62? Is this a 9? Or
I'm sure it is. That would be the crime scene and collected and whoever they sent it off to test it.
Okay. And just to be clear, at Makita Cookie, y'all recovered several bullets and bullet fragments from various locations at Makita Cookie. Is that correct?
Correct.
As far as you know, was any testing done of those bullets and or bullet fragments to determine whether they were .40 caliber or .7.62 rounds?
Are you saying the bullets or the casing?
The bullets.
Bullets? No, I'm not aware.
Okay. And you also received back into evidence from the medical examiner several bullets and bullet fragments. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And to your knowledge, at any point in time, did anyone try to test those, not to put them to a firearm because you didn't have the particular firearm, but to determine what caliber of bullets were recovered from Mr. Ford?
Should possibly, yes. The crime scene or whoever took custody of those bullets.
Or you're saying it's possible, but are you aware of any testing? Okay.
Yeah, he didn't recover the evidence. That was done by somebody else.
Now, I want to switch over to Bradley, right? And you recovered the Mercedes from Bradley. Now, you were asked about video. And you had, because you had video from Makita Cookie, correct?
Yes.
And you had video from Crosstown.
Yes.
And you had video from Valero.
Yes.
And I believe Mr. Hagerman asked you, did you canvass the Bradley neighborhood for any video?
Officers came.
Yeah, no, Breezy F Baby says it was rumors that the employee at Makeda's set up Dolph so that the footage may have been destroyed. No, the footage is there. I've seen it. And it shows her looking. She sees some guys outside the window, and they may show it during court. And then she just ducks back behind the door. And she couldn't have set them up because they were already being followed. And Marcus and Dolph knew they were being followed, but they were just chose to be super reckless and stop. I don't know why they stopped, but yeah, it's unfortunate. Anyway, so I don't think she had anything to do with it. Secondly, I mean, they would have had to have been waiting in that specific area, because if you watch the video from the time Dolph got there to when the other car pulled up, it was maybe 2-3 minutes at the most. So they would have had to been just sitting there in the parking lot and got lucky. And then she texted them and say, hey, pull up. Amy said, Classy, better put your rain boots on. No, you know me, I'm going to go out there with no shoes on. And I'm going to just, we country out here. We're going to do it the old fashioned way.
Yeah, we had other investigators that came to the area.
And you also, I think, testified that you knew that Hernandez Govan lived across the street from Bradley.
Yes.
And you and I think other officers at some point in time interviewed Cornelius Smith. Is that right? Let me ask you this. Did you go to Mr. Govan's house to see about whether he had cameras?
Oh my God. AB.
Some investigators walked up and down. I don't know if he went to his house, but usually they walk down and see if they see any cameras up to the house, outside the house.
And when you say cameras, they've knocked too, right?
Yes.
Right? It's like, do you have cameras?
Yes.
And at some point in time, you became aware of Mr. Govan as a potential suspect in the case.
Yes.
Right? So that, as Mr. Hagerman's word, you became very interested in him
Yes.
as time went on. Do you recall there being anyone of the officers in the case, you as one of the lead detectives in the case, reporting to you that there were cameras directly across the street from Bradley, where the white Mercedes would have been, facing the Bradley property, the abandoned house where the Mercedes was? Do you recall Cornelius Smith in any of his interviews with law enforcement that you can recall ever saying that Hernandez Govan had cameras at his house that faced the Bradley house?
No, I don't recall that.
And a lot of investigators in this case, right?
Yes.
Working hard to try to find evidence.
Yes.
Correct. I bet you would agree with me if somebody had told you Hernandez Govan has cameras facing where that white car was, you would have been over there, or somebody would have been over there tracking down that lead, right?
No attempt to, yes.
Right. And you're not aware of, at least right now, whether anybody ever even spoke to Mr. Govan specifically and asked him about cameras.
No.
So, you said you processed the Mercedes. So there's a, or others, you know it was processed.
Processing investigators.
And there's a level of processing that occurs while the car's still on Bradley. Is that correct? Or do y'all just hook it up and tow it?
Hook it up and tow it.
Okay.
Process it at another location.
Okay. Now, when you saw the vehicle on Bradley, do you remember there being any bullet holes in the car?
I think it were. I'm not sure. May have been the window broken out or something to that effect.
Okay. And to be clear, the window that was broken out, and I can pass you the exhibits, some of these exhibits that were previously marked.
I don't know where he's going with this.
Exhibit 49 and Exhibit 43 of the white Mercedes. They'll kind of give you something to look at, refresh your recollection. In those photographs, does it appear that the passenger side window is not there?
Yes.
All right. Was there broken glass anywhere around the car or in the car that you recall?
I don't recall.
Okay. Now, and I've got one other image here. It's exhibit number 10. It's also of the white Mercedes. Was there any places on that Mercedes that you can remember seeing on the exterior of the car any bullet holes?
Not from the picture.
Okay. Now, some of those photographs where the vehicle is being processed, the outside of the car has like black powder all over it.
Yes.
Is that done for fingerprint purposes?
Yes.
Okay. And I believe you've already testified to this, but there were several prints recovered from the vehicle. Is that right?
That's correct.
Mr. Smith, Cornelius Smith,
Correct.
Trayon Ingram,
Yes.
and Kristen Garner.
Yes.
Mr. Justin Johnson's fingerprints were not recovered from that vehicle, correct?
They were not.
That's what we said.
Now, you also were asked about DNA.
That's going to be a
And I will
problem.
retrieve those from you if you'd like.
That's going to be a big
You also
problem.
asked about DNA, and I believe the question was, there was no DNA evidence or evidence of blood in the car. Okay. Now,
Nope.
to be clear, there was actually DNA testing done, touch DNA testing done on at least 8+ places inside the car, right? And they did swaps. Is that correct? And that's where a tech goes in and they're swiping different parts of the vehicle to see if there's any DNA that can be detected. Are you aware of what the technician looks for when they decide like what areas they're going to swab for DNA?
No, I'm not.
Okay. But as far as you know, were there any reports generated about whether DNA existed?
Reports that they didn't have a match to anything that was submitted.
All right. So your recollection is that there are reports, or was a report, that there was not a DNA match to the touch DNA, but there was DNA recovered.
Yes, I guess so.
Okay. And I'm asking you. I'm not telling you. I'm asking you what you recall. Now, when you get DNA results, do they typically, from TBI, when you send them to TBI, they typically come back on kind of a letterhead from TBI. Is that correct? That you know?
I know of.
All right. And in fact, one of the items that was recovered from the Mercedes was a chapstick. Can you recall that?
Yes,
And
some things recovered inside the serum.
And in fact, that chapstick was sent along with the touch DNA swabs the chapstick was sent to the TBI for testing, and came back with a major DNA profile of a male, but couldn't be excluded down to anything beyond a male. You recall that?
No.
Okay. If I were to show you the report, would it refresh your recollection?
Yeah, we talked about this a lot earlier. They really don't have anything other than Justin wearing the same clothes and being seen in the Mercedes. But again, there were a lot of people in the Mercedes, which was weird that the prosecution showed that there were several other people in the Mercedes. Maybe some that matched his build. I don't know how the defense is going to play this, but man, we'll see.
Now, do you have any specific knowledge of the touch DNA swabs being sent to the Tennessee-Bureau investigation? All right, so you can't say whether those were actually ever sent, right? Because
it's not his job.
Been sent, the report that I just showed you, you would have had something back from them saying either there's no identifiable DNA or there was, and then they would analyze it further, correct?
Correct.
If that wasn't sent, if the touch DNA samples weren't sent to the for further testing, you would agree with me that would be a problem for your investigation.
Could be.
Right? I mean, because touch DNA, if they recovered something that could point you directly to a person, right, with scientific fact, right? Going, this is the person that touched that part of the car.
Yes.
And you don't
Touch
know until you
DNA
try,
is
right?
interesting.
You don't know unless you test it. Okay. Right. And if you didn't test it, that's an avenue of investigation for establishing facts and evidence that was kind of left unattended. Fair?
Fair.
Now, you told Mr. Hagerman, and we talked about this, you said, and no evidence of blood in the car. Now, somebody who works in the department with you, Sergeant Coburn, he did a lot of the processing of this vehicle,
Yes.
correct?
Yes, all the process.
And at some point, he even used something called Blue Star. You know what Blue Star is?
Yes.
What's Blue Star?
It's an agent that they use to spray for location of blood inside on things.
Right. And
Interesting.
you would agree with me that Blue Star is something they spray it, they put a light on it, and it'll light up if there's blood or biological material that has been there, correct?
Correct. My knowledge is.
And they can even use Blue Star on places where people think they have wiped down or cleaned,
Yes.
and it will still show. Right, that's that horrible thing they do in the hotel rooms, right? Where they spray that, freak everybody out.
Asking for a friend, can you order or buy Blue Star? I'm just curious. Let's see. Blue Star spray. Blue Star Forensic. Let's see. I can't be the only one that wants to know this. Blue Star Blue Spray. Go to the online store. How much is it? Find a distributor. Go to the online store. Y'all want to see this? I mean, we're doing some research. Let's see. So here's the blue spray. That's a mist diffuser. And then you can buy the kit for $49.50. Oh, man, you know these guys had that stuff and sprayed it in the car. Come on now. They probably figured out how to make it by now. Blue Star Forensics Concentrated Formula Magnum. We're gonna leave that one alone. Is ideal for searching minute blood droplets or stains or washed fabrics in the forensic laboratory, but recommended also on crime scenes. Our super strength version, and then they go into more detail. This is the add to cart button. Interesting.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I'm putting the streets on game right now.
Sergeant Coburn used Blue Star inside the Mercedes. And if you recall, inside of the driver's door,
Interesting.
Armrest, the Blue Star reacted with a very bright chemiluminescence, I think is the way he says it here, which is a hard word to say. And he took swabs of that as well. Right? So from what you know of Blue Star, is Blue Star something that if you shine it and it lights up, that's typically an indication of blood or some biological material that's been in that area.
That's what I've been told. Right, not an expert.
Blue Star Magnum.
Sure. And Sergeant Coburn, obviously, who processes for these things, if he swabbed it twice, it definitely should
Said order now.
some evidentiary importance to him to determine, is this biological or not? Would you agree with that?
I would.
And as you sit here today, are you aware of the results of any testing that came back on the swabs for the Blue Star?
I don't remember those.
Okay. Like we talked about earlier, if you had tested that and it had come back, it could have potentially had DNA evidence on it, right?
I'm assuming yes.
And that would have been very important as one of those evidentiary facts that you would have used in your investigation. Correct. And if you didn't have that and it existed, it put you at a disadvantage of knowing all of the evidence and all the facts, correct?
Correct.
So, let's go to the Valero video. So, the Valero video, you see several different vehicles arrive at Valero. Person I think you identified as Kristen Gardner is pumping gas from the white Mercedes. Correct. And then he drives that white Mercedes off up to the top of the screen. And then I think you said you see somebody, you can't tell who it is, but you see an individual get out of another vehicle, Kristen Gardner get out of the white Mercedes, and someone gets inside the white Mercedes. Correct. That you said was not wearing the same clothes that Kristen Gardner was wearing just moments earlier.
Correct.
Or maybe even seconds earlier. It's very quick.
Right.
But right after that exchange is made, doesn't another car pull up in front of the white Mercedes and sit for some period of time?
It does.
Right. And to be fair, you would agree with me, you can't see what's going on with the white Mercedes, who's in the white Mercedes, whether someone got out of and back into the white Mercedes.
It's not on me,
Correct.
Susan.
And
it's
that's
not on
definitely
me.
something that could have happened. We don't know, because you couldn't see.
Susan said, I'm going to have criminals buying this now to clean up crime scenes.
And so those cross-down videos, I believe you made the statement that you would see Mr. Johnson arriving in the Mercedes in crosstown.
Seems someone.
Someone.
Yes.
Or someone wearing, well, let me ask you this, and you make my point, right? So you don't know who was in the Mercedes,
No.
right? Because in fairness, the video you saw and that the jury saw is the video. Like, you can't see who's driving the Mercedes. Right? Correct. And then you see the Mercedes enter, and there are times when you'll see the person in the gray sweatpants, black, black shoes, black hoodie, walking through the parking garage. Correct. Right? And you don't see the car that person gets in of or out of. Right. Now,
just throwing some reasonable doubt in there. Don't worry.
Correct. It is. A lot of cars. A lot of cars going in and out. And you would agree with me that the videos that were shown are confined to intentionally, right, to focus on when the white Mercedes comes in and out, when the Expedition goes in and out. Yes. Right? But there were other cars going in and out through those periods of time. Yes. And you would agree with me that during those periods of time where the white Mercedes, it shows the white Mercedes in the video come in, you can't see the driver, you can't see the person in the gray sweatpants and the black hoodie, what they get in and out of. You can't say that that person was ever in that white Mercedes, correct?
No, you can't. It's just the area that the Mercedes parked at is the same area where that person came from.
Well, for a building like that, why don't they have cameras in the parking garage? I mean, that looked like a really, really nice building. You think they would have some cameras, some surveillance system set up in there? I'm sure they will now.
But can you even see in the video that was shown where the Mercedes parks?
Just the general area.
Which is the parking garage, which is around hundreds and potentially more other vehicles, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, there is a point in time in your testimony when we start looking at the videos inside Crosstown, specifically inside the elevator, where you specifically identify that person to be Mr. Johnson based on the tattoo, I think. Other characteristics too, but you mentioned a tattoo.
Yes.
And in those videos, some of those correspond with times at which you showed the white Mercedes roll in, and then the person in the gray sweatpants, black hoodie walk in, right? One of those times having a little girl in tow.
Yes.
Now, you would agree with me that during those times, when you see Mr. Johnson, the one you've identified as Mr. Johnson, with the little girl in the elevator, and other times, he's not wearing gloves.
No.
Right. And has a little girl with him that obviously if what the state says is correct and he was in the Mercedes, would have also been in that Mercedes, correct?
Yes.
I mean, he's bringing up some reasonable doubt. I see it.
Today you testified about going back to the Makita video, and specifically, you mentioned that when the video was playing and then there were some still shots put in, you mentioned something about underwear you thought that matched between the video that was taken at Tulane Apartments and the person that's portrayed in that video and the person portrayed in the Makita video.
Correct.
Specifically the gray sweatpants, black hoodie, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this is how
Now,
it's supposed to be done,
there
for
was
sure.
a timeline that you also said you recognized of the Tulane apartment video. You recall seeing that?
Yes.
Had various pictures, and it even had like notable things from each picture.
Okay.
Right? Would you agree with me that nowhere in that timeline is it noted that these underwear are the same color as the underwear in the Makita Koga video?
No.
Is there a reason for that? Why that wouldn't be in there? Think like
Just something that I mentally put in my head when I saw the video there, and I saw the video there. Okay. Same clothing, just like the clothing they had on.
And this, what was marked as, I mean, and again, you saw this, you're pulling that from the same video that the jury saw in evidence, correct?
Yes, correct.
And the still shots, which were marked as, front and back. Oh, okay. Okay. 58. It's a collective. And these pictures, these still shots, being slowed down, I'm going to hand you collective 58. And I just want to be sure that your perspective that you think those are, you say those are blue, number one.
I see you,
and
Mike.
You think those are, similar to the ones in the Tulane video, is based off exactly what the jury has seen. It's based off the video that we saw today and those still images.
Yes.
Okay. And in fact, you're saying did you base it off seeing still images before, or are those still images something you just saw for the first time today after you kind of put that together in your head?
No, something myself.
You'd seen them, investigating the case.
Yes.
Okay. But again, you're saying based on the same.
Yes.
And it's your testimony that those are the same color as the Tulane video?
What I visualized, what I saw.
What you saw. Okay. All right. Thank you. One moment, you're on.
All right. Let's see.
Crosstown.
Oh, hold on. Let's rewind here.
You were asked about how long it would take to get from Crosstown to Makita Cookie. I think you said 10, 15 minutes. And obviously, possible. And that's something too that, depending on time of day, traffic, and everything else, could be longer. Okay? Could be closer to 10 or around, could be 20.
Correct.
Thereabouts. How far away from Makita Cookie is the Bradley Street address where the car was recovered from?
I would say up 2 miles.
Um,
Give or take.
When you were investigating this case, did you become familiar with an address on Wild Rose Drive? Would have been
Yes.
Cornelius Smith's
Yes.
father's residence?
Correct.
How far would you say that was from Makita Cookie?
Maybe 5-minute drive. Maybe probably not that much. So
Maybe even a little less.
correct.
Okay. And during your investigation, did you also learn information oh, strike that.
Yeah, y'all don't go out there snatching up Blue Star. It'll get me in trouble.
Information about where Mr. Johnson's, the mother of Mr. Johnson's daughter, lived.
Yeah, we got an address, possibly.
His baby mama.
Do you recall that address off the top of your head?
No,
Did you ever do any kind of, did you drive there? Ever?
we drove to an apartment. She's supposed to be living.
Okay. How far would you say that apartment was from Makita Cookie?
It's a good distance. It's out in the Whitehaven area, probably closer to the 2 lanes.
Closer to the 2 lane. And how far away is 2 lane from Makita?
Depending on traffic, interstate through the city, probably about 20 minutes.
Okay.
And y'all believe this or not, but I'm playing this at
Johnson's
1.2
mother's
speed.
Daughter, the one in the video, and presumably in the video in the elevator, was 20 minutes from Makita Cookie. How, and if you don't know the answer to this, but how far would you say that would be from Crosstown, to get from Crosstown to that apartment address out in Whitehaven?
Maybe 15, 20 minutes from this.
Okay. 1 moment. That's my questions. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, just super quick. And something I probably should have explained at the start, some of Mr. Davis' questions. You're retired now, is that correct?
That's correct.
And this investigation went on after you retired, is that correct?
Correct.
And so this case sort of has two case officers.
It does.
You for the original,
Yes.
and then Jesse Browning after that?
That's correct.
Okay, so there's some things that happened in this investigation, maybe even testing in this investigation or whatever decisions that were made would be after you were off the case.
Correct.
All right, and retired.
Yes.
All right. The second thing, are you aware that Blue Star, what Mr. Evans was talking about, also reacts with bleach and cleaning products?
I'm not aware.
Okay, you have not been trained on that substance or anything at all?
I have not.
Okay. That's all my questions. Straight.
Any recalls?
Yeah, nobody's going in Lake Lanier.
Thank you.
Call your next witness.
Kiston Gordon.
All right, so they're actually going to call Kirsten Garland, to the stand. Interesting thing is, oh man, are you serious? So the jury right now is actually deliberating on a verdict for this trial. So I got to ask y'all, I got to put a poll in the chat. This is crazy. So we might actually have a verdict on this today. Shout out to Memphis for getting it done. I thought we were going to be up out of here, but we might be here for a minute. They are not playing around. The jury is deliberating right now. So we'll see what happens. I've got the other feed pulled up. If I see they come back in court, then we'll go live and see. This is crazy though. This is crazy. So what will the jury's verdict be for Justin Johnson? Man, this is crazy. They are not playing around in Memphis. So we got guilty, not guilty. There's no way we have a hung jury, but we'll see. I won't say there's no way, but I'd be surprised. All right, got him in there. And I'm actually seeing some movement in the court right now. So we are officially on. Oh my gosh. We're officially on jury watch. All right, so I'm going to keep this feed up. We'll go ahead and keep playing this and hearing some more of the testimony. And then we might have a verdict here shortly, y'all. Let's see. And by the way, they've been deliberating for about an hour right now. I'm going to change the title of this too. All right, so let's skip ahead here. We don't want to hear the waterfall. Amy said, "What's you looking at?" You know what I was looking at.
Judge, raise your right hand. Step.
Here we go.
Step up here, sir. Face the judge, raise your right hand, sir.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Have a seat. We may take your next.
Mr. Garner, you don't want to be here, do you?
No, sir.
All right, but go ahead and tell me your name.
Mr. Gardner.
Spell that first name for me.
K-H-I-S-T-A-N.
Spell the last name.
Gardner. G-A-R-N-E-R.
And how old are you?
21.
I want to take you back to 2021, November the 17th. It's the early morning hours of November the 17th, just after 2 o'clock, going on to 3 o'clock a.m., okay? Did you have occasion to go up to the Valero station near the University of Memphis?
Yes, sir.
Where had you been before you got to the Valero station?
Oh, I can't tell.
Okay. Was it a neighborhood house?
Yes, sir.
Were you up there with other people?
Yes, sir.
Were you up there with an individual by the name of Treon Ingram?
Yes, sir.
Do you know Treon Ingram?
Yes, sir.
Was he somebody you hung out with?
Yes, sir.
Did you see an individual up at that neighborhood house?
Oh, he's
that
locked
you know
up.
was straight drop or drop?
I can't tell. I
Okay.
just know when we came to the house, that's who Treon said they were.
Objection. Here's that.
Sustain.
Yes.
You came to the neighborhood house, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you saw the individual there. My approach, what did we approach with regard to objection?
Yeah.
So this is the gentleman that was driving the Mercedes shortly after it got stolen. This is Justin Johnson right here.
Let me show you a picture. I think you've seen this before.
Jury's been out for 58 minutes.
What's that a picture of?
Mercedes-Benz was in.
All right, is that the picture that we're going to be talking about?
Yes, sir.
Is that the car we're going to be talking about?
Yes, sir.
To your knowledge, was that car a stolen car?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you know where that car came from?
No, sir.
All right. Are there other people at this neighborhood house?
Yes, sir.
Who are the other people at this neighborhood house?
Straight drop.
Straight drop?
Yes, sir.
What'd y'all do at this neighborhood house?
Nothing really.
Okay, were y'all hanging out?
No, sir.
Did Straight Drop come in a car, a different car?
Yeah, truck.
A truck? Let me show you this picture that you've seen before.
Yes, sir.
Is that the truck Straight Drop came in?
Yes, sir.
And is that a white Ford Expedition?
Yes, sir.
There come a point when y'all,
Whole squad snitching on him. Dang.
Yes, sir.
when y'all left the house, who was driving the white Mercedes?
I was.
When y'all left the house, did the Infiniti leave the house too?
Yes, sir.
Who was driving the Infiniti?
Treon.
Did he have a passenger with him in the Infiniti?
Yeah, straight drop.
Straight drop? When y'all got to the gas station, what happened?
We got some gas. They popped for it and then they pulled off. They pulled back around and straight drop got in the Benz we was in. And I got in the Infiniti.
Straight drop got in the white Benz?
Yes, sir.
And did you leave in the Infiniti?
Yes, sir.
Got a picture from the gas station. See if you recognize this picture.
Yes, sir.
Who's in that picture?
Yeah, that's me.
All right. Is that you next to the white Mercedes at the gas station that night?
Yeah.
The snitching like crazy.
And let me get you a final picture.
Nah, all
Is this
these.
another picture you've seen before?
Yes, sir.
What's that a picture of?
Benz we got
The Benz you gave her.
straight drop.
Okay. Did you know what Straight Drop was going to do in that Benz?
No, sir.
Did you have any idea at all?
No, sir.
Were you part of this conspiracy at all?
No, sir.
Had you ever talked with anybody about killing Dolph or these other PRE artists?
I want to do this.
Why would you do that?
I want to do that one. That's my family.
You say that's your family, what you name?
This party. That's my family. I want to do this.
Yeah, when you say it's not your family, though, what do you mean?
Yeah, these new guys, they don't.
Young dog.
Young Dolph?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you did not see Young Dolph as some sort of rival or anything like that?
No, sir.
You wouldn't have been involved in anything like that?
No, sir.
I'd like to introduce those exhibits into evidence at this time, Your Honor.
Did I need to give them a quick look?
My approach.
Here we go.
No objection.
These are actually in order as Mr. Gardner identified them, Your Honor. My approach shoot.
The first picture is a picture of a white Mercedes with the back end damaged The picture has Kirsten Garner's name on the bottom, labeled 11/29/21 at 4:01 p.m. It also has written on it in red the bins we gave drop at Valero. We'll mark this as exhibit number 60.
Still no jury back yet, y'all. We've been deliberating for an hour.
The next picture is a frontal view of a white Expedition. Written on the bottom, the truck hopped out of before Trayon gave him the bins. At the house, police found bins. Kirsten Garner's name, November 29, 2021 at 3:24 p.m. Like this is exhibit number 61. The next picture is a picture of the white bins at the gas pump. Somebody standing next to the gas pump. The statement under the picture is, "This is me pumping the gas. Drove to store following Trayon KT." The initials under the bottom. Trayon and KT. Christian Garner at the bottom, November 29, 2021, 3:27 p.m. We'll mark that as exhibit number 62. And the last picture is a side view of the Mercedes-Benz. This view is on the passengers. This is a view of the driver's side. And the written caption under the bottom says, "This is the Benz we gave drop." Christian Garner, November 29, 2021. We'll mark this as exhibit number 63.
Hmm.
60. The bins we get dropped at Valero, 11/29. The truck hopped out of before Treon gave him the bins at the house where police found the bins. This is me pumping. Next exhibit, this is me pumping the gas. Drove to store following Treon. This is the bins we get dropped. Next on the exhibit.
I wish we could see what was going on. This is brutal.
Evans.
There you go. And no jury decision yet.
Good afternoon, Mr. Garner.
Good afternoon.
My name's Luke Evans. I represent Justin Johnson. I've got a few questions for you, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I'm not going to ask you what Trayon said, but when you were first asked whether or not you knew whether or not you knew who Trayon traded the Mercedes-Benz for, you didn't say Justin Johnson or Straight Drop.
Yes, sir. The boy straight drop Evans.
Okay, and you started to answer by saying Trayon told me.
Yeah, when we was at the house. When we went to the store, I seen him. I was in the car with him. I seen him at the store.
So you didn't see him at the house?
No, Treon just told us that's who this was when he got in the Infiniti, Treon.
Okay. So you're saying that Treon, you were there, though, no question.
No question asked.
So, how many times have you been interviewed by law enforcement?
No, the jury's good. They know exactly what they're gonna do.
2 minutes. In relation to this investigation, if that narrows it down any for you, is it still too many times? Or are you just saying one time's too many?
One time, 2 minutes.
Sure. Fair enough. So,
Oh, look at them showing off the carpet. They say, y'all see this carpet? Going strong since 1975.
you've at least been interviewed twice, right?
Yes, sir.
And then you even got spoken to right before you came
Oh,
on
not the
scene.
Crocs. Oh, Lord.
State. Correct. And the first time you talked to law enforcement was on November 23rd, 2021 about this. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
And you told this jury today you had no idea that that Mercedes-Benz was stolen.
No, sir.
Now that just isn't true. And you know it's not true, right?
I wouldn't been in if it was stolen.
Okay. What's Treyon do for a living?
I can't say it.
I mean, did he have a job that you knew of where he could afford a Benz?
Mitchie said 1875.
Work at a garbage truck place.
Okay. I mean, you weren't with Treyon when he carjacked it a couple of weeks before. I mean, you and him were tight, right?
Yes, sir. If I would have been there, I would have said, you know, I wasn't.
You weren't there?
No, sir.
And you just, I mean, how long you known Treyon?
My whole life.
You known him your whole life.
Yes, sir.
He works at a garbage company,
Yes, sir.
right? He's driving a Benz. How long had he had the Benz?
I can't tell you.
I mean, you hung out with him almost every day, didn't you?
No, sir. You only kind of pick me up when I need a ride.
Did you need a ride the night you say you went over and traded the Benz?
Yes, sir.
No, he's got that jail fit.
Off Redbud in the mouth.
And Treyon was just taking you.
Yes, sir.
Well, what did you think when he was going to trade his nice bought and paid for Mercedes-Benz for an Infiniti Q40?
This is business. That's what I thought.
Let me ask you this. Listen. For Treyon and you riding around in this Benz that you thought he bought and paid for, didn't carjack to get it. What did you think when he was riding around with 2 pistols and a Draco in the back?
Text is me.
Because that's what he had, right? A Draco style assault rifle.
I can't tell. I just know he had some type of weapon.
Well, you called it a Draco when you interviewed with law enforcement.
Yeah, it should be.
Right, so that's what it was. And some pistols, right?
It was like more than it was Pentagon in the car.
And that's what you and Treyon were riding around with.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you this. At least November 16th, 2021, were you a felon?
No, sir.
What about Treyon?
I can't tell.
You don't know?
No, sir.
I hear you, Steph. Uh-oh, I think the judge is back.
Well, when you get to Bradley that night, why do you have to go out to drive the Mercedes?
They were trying to told me to do pump gas and drive it around. But I didn't even know we was going to give it to the truck. I just know when we came around, when I got done pumping gas, we all pulled off, came back around through the store again, and we gave it to him. I didn't know why, I didn't know what he did it for, I just know he gave it to him.
And the only time you've been in the car was that night? That Mercedes?
No, sir.
You've been in it before? How many times?
Twice, 3 times. Just wanted to pick a ride when I called Treon.
What about, did you ever have to get anything out of the trunk for him? Or did you just get in the front seats and, in the passenger seat, in and out?
Yeah, my wallet.
Yeah.
Get your wallet out of the trunk?
Yeah, no, it wasn't in the trunk. It was in the car.
Okay. What about the trunk? Did you ever go in the trunk?
No, sir.
Never went in the trunk?
No, sir.
Never touched the trunk?
No, sir.
Do you know, well, you knew there was tags from multiple states in that trunk of that car, right?
No, sir.
You got any change of tags that night?
No, sir.
Okay.
I don't know how to
Man.
what the tag was trying to, I didn't even know nothing about this.
Y'all know y'all changed the tag. Stop lying.
I wanted them to take.
You said you thought Treyon had bought that Mercedes, right?
I didn't say that. I just said I didn't know where he got it from.
I think earlier you said you thought he bought it. He had a job.
Yeah, I just said he got a job. I didn't say he bought it.
Okay.
I said I didn't know where he got it from.
Because you knew him to steal cars too, didn't you?
No, sir.
You didn't tell police that you knew Trayon took a stolen Infiniti and a Challenger?
No, sir. One time Ken says I told him we got it Infinity. We ain't have no Challenger. I don't know nothing about no Challenger. But
Okay.
where did he come
50 Shades of Chad.
So, if the police have a report from your interview and it says that, they just got it wrong.
Yeah, it seemed like.
Okay. Now, when you first got interviewed by the cops in this case, you told them you'd never been in that Mercedes, right?
One time I told him I'd never been in the Mercedes when Dolph died. I didn't have no idea what happened. I told him I was in the Mercedes, but just wanted to get a ride. That's all I told him.
All right.
Really?
You didn't tell them. What about Valero? They asked you if you'd ever been to Valero.
And they showed me the pictures of me at Valero. That's when I told them that's where when the day we gave it the drop.
But before they showed you that picture, you said you had never been at the gas station, Valero gas station at Highland.
I didn't even want to tell them nothing really, because I didn't have no dealing with it.
You even were shown a picture of yourself pumping gas and said you didn't know who that person was, right?
Yes, sir.
I lied. Shout out to Greenville, South Carolina.
You were asked earlier if you knew, you say that it's Justin Johnson got that Mercedes. You said, did you ever know why Justin Johnson was getting the Mercedes? Or Straight Drop was getting? You said no, right?
Yes, sir.
But that's not what you told the police when you were interviewed, again, on November 29, 2001. Right?
Interrogated me.
And during your questioning, interrogation, whatever you want to call it, you told them that Drop said he needed the Mercedes-Benz to slide up on his baby mama.
That's what the comment was when he got it for sure.
All right. So earlier, you
That's a
said-
wild statement.
You were asked directly. Did he ever tell you why he needed it, why he wanted it, what he was going to do with it?
That was the comment he made.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying, Sean.
According to you, he did tell you.
He tell me that's just a comment that was made. I don't know. I wasn't in none of their business. I don't know now one of them, so I wasn't in their business. I was just sitting in the car doing what I was doing.
And this person, you're saying Straight Drop during this interaction, what did you see him do at Valero?
Get in the car. When we got there, we got some gas. After we got some gas, we were trailed in the Audi and the Infinity and the Benz. When we got done getting some gas, we rolled out. We came back through the store lot, hit the air pump, and that's when we traded cars.
Now, after you heard Dolph got killed, you called Trayon, right?
No, sir.
You didn't?
I was with you, the days outside because he dropped me off. And we asked him, did he have anything to do with Dolph being dead? Because if he did, we're not going to be around him. It's simple.
Well, you told detectives that you had a conversation with Trayon after the homicide and stated that you called him.
No, sir.
That's not true?
I was with him on the day of. He dropped me off in Raleigh and then Infinity.
All right. And you told Trayon, according to what you told them at the time, that people were trying to put your name in as one of the shooters in Dolph's murder.
Yeah, that was for sure.
When was this conversation?
The day after me recognizing that Dolph was dead, and the day after that, we recognized that the car we were just in that had something to do with Dolph.
And you already knew the day after he's killed, that people are putting your name in it.
It's my family. Like, they know what
Yeah.
car we were just in. Like,
Who's your family? When you say your family,
It's gonna be more than that.
Like, they're
Okay.
my family.
can you explain that to me a little bit more? Are they your blood relatives?
Yes, sir.
How are y'all related?
Cousins.
Okay. And you're saying the family would have known that you were driving around in that white Mercedes?
Yes, sir.
How would they have known that?
'Cause we was calling them.
Thank goodness, man. Y'all be
We
safe.
got to be.
You called Dolph's family.
You know, call people that were related.
Who'd you call?
I can't tell.
What do you mean you can't tell? You don't know?
They're not in the,
Who'd you call?
can't tell. Treon did all the calling.
I thought you just said you called them. They're your family.
This is Mr. Garner.
Treon did all the calling.
But why is he calling Dolph's family?
He's trying to get it. He's trying to get the car going.
Why would Dolph's family know how to get the car going?
Yeah, that's just Dolph's family. There was plenty of people that we were trying to get the car to.
Well, you just said it was Dolph's family. Who you were calling. That's who we're talking about, Mr. Garner.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my-
So you stole a car, well, and back again. You said earlier you didn't even know that the car was stolen.
Why you keep saying I stole the car?
Why are you trying to get the car going if you didn't steal it?
I didn't steal it with Treon.
Because they
trying to
committed
get
a
the car.
crime in it.
So Treon stole it.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? Why is he trying to get rid of the car? If he bought it.
I can't tell you, and I didn't say he bought it. I didn't know where he got it from.
So you're in a car, however Treon got it. That you're calling, you say, Dolph's family, before he's killed, to try to get rid of the car, for whatever reason.
It was way before Dolph was even in the thing dealing with Dolph. Like, we've been trying to get the car down. Like, it was way before this. It didn't have nothing to do the day of, the day out there, the day before, none of it. It was way before. When he picked me up, the first time he picked me up, he was trying to get the car down. I didn't get in his business. It's not my business. I'm just getting in here to get a ride.
What's way before? Let's start there. It was way before Dolph was killed.
Yeah.
How far before?
About a week or so.
All right, and you're saying that's way before.
Yes.
But Treon, according to you, is calling Dolph's family. And Treon's not related to Dolph too, is he?
It's just not Dolph's family. You got to realize everybody grew up with each other. So everybody know everybody. It's Memphis. Everybody know everybody.
Well,
Call.
Sorry, I'll let you finish.
When he got done calling them, they didn't want to get it. They didn't have nothing to do with it.
Everybody know everybody.
He did, gave it a drop. I don't know. I can't tell you why he gave it, where he did it from.
But you're concerned immediately when Dolph ends up
Y'all give me 1 second.
murdered, because you know that you or Treon, one of the two of you, has reached out to Dolph's family and tried to unload a white Mercedes, right? Which is in the video, driving away.
Like my fault, but why you keep saying it was just Dolph's family? Like I told you, it was multiple people he was trying to sell the car to.
That's what you said.
Yeah.
That's what you said. You won't tell us who it was. I've asked you that too.
I want you to have nothing to do with me.
You said
talking about me giving the car to the truck. I ain't have nothing to do with it. I was
unfortunately, you don't get to pick and choose, Mr. Garner, on what you answer and what you don't. The judge gets to decide that, not you.
Yes, sir.
And you're concerned, and the day after, because maybe not the only people, but you've interacted, as you said, a lot of people, some of which were your family, which you've identified as Dolph's family, with that car, and your name is in it, right? Same car that's got, as luck would have it, a Draco in it, and two pistols. At least, you said a bunch, but at least 2 pistols, right?
There's a lot of witnesses.
And you're immediately concerned, right? Because you think, oh no.
Now, when Dolph died, and I seen them Mercedes on the news, of course, man, who not finna call them if I'm in this car? And they just did it like, I ain't finna act like I didn't. Yeah, I called them.
Well, you called them because somebody said you were involved.
It's multiple people I called, like, what's going on? Like, and me not knowing about it, like, why I'm in this car, like, y'all put me in something that I don't even supposed to be in, really.
And this was the day after.
Yes.
This is before you ever even come on the scene. Like, you're not picked up by law enforcement yet. You're not talking to the cops. That doesn't happen to you.
It came, man, right after Dolph died, like, it came a couple days after, like, so it was none of it. I already knew that I was gonna get picked up regardless. As soon as I said that, I got picked up for nothing.
And started lying right then, right? Trying to hide your involvement.
Just Dolph, like, I wouldn't want to be in this, like, knowing I ain't got nothing to do with it. It wasn't no lie, it was for real, like, I ain't have nothing to do with it, it ain't no lie. I don't.
He's up here telling our other people saying he didn't have anything to do with it.
I don't have nothing to do with it.
Come on, man.
Mr. Garner, we learned today you've had quite a bit to do.
How did it?
That's all the questions I got.
Redirect.
I've got no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Garner.
Hold on.
Everybody know everybody.
Wait 1 second, I already have stipulation. We'd like to-
No jury yet.
Read to the record.
Northside, I agree. I'm with you on this. I would say not guilty.
Record, Your Honor, and then you can get
I'm with Northside on this. Y'all ain't gonna like it, but I would say not guilty. I mean, Mike Breeze said this trial was too quick. Where is Miss Love when you need her? I think this is just another case of, you got this guy Cornelius Smith who was up there. Is like, oh yeah, I shot Dolph. He's up there singing, and he's taking a plea, and then you've got this guy that was allegedly there. I don't know. I'm with Northside on this. I think there's enough reasonable doubt for me. We do not condone violence here. Memphis is too small for ops. You say, yikes, he's guilty. You're lying. I'm just saying, y'all gotta get out your feelings. We're talking about the legal process here. Roughness is not violence. That's true. We do need to clarify that. Let me skip ahead here. We condone roughness and violence when it's consented. Y'all have to look at it from a legal standpoint. Is there enough reasonable doubt? I know what you think might have happened or might not have happened, but we got to look at the evidence, and the evidence doesn't show me 100% that was Justin Johnson. Oh no, Linda's gone. Dang. Linda said, "Are you crazy? I'm done with your channel. Bye." Oh man. Dang, Linda. Listen, Linda. Linda's gone, y'all. We lost another one. It's tough out here.
Jamarcus Johnson.
Step this way, sir. Stand right here. Raise your right hand facing y'all.
Can you swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Here's the facts. I can't see. Here's the facts. Justin Johnson was wearing the clothes that fit the clothes similar to the person who was involved who was shown in the video. Justin Johnson's fingerprints were not found in the car. His blood was not found in the car. And he was in the car 30 minutes before the shooting took place. I mean, y'all should be more upset about Cornelius Smith. He was up there saying, "Yeah, I shot him," and that was Justin there with me. I don't know that. Y'all gonna believe Cornelius Smith? Hey, I'm just saying.
Have a seat.
I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry, guys. If I ever disagree with you on this channel, I'm sorry. I apologize to Linda for getting upset because I disagreed with her. I apologize if I ever... Listen, what I'm going to do is, y'all do me a favor. In the comments and in the chat, just type what you want me to say, and I'll make sure that I agree with it. Amy says, you know my criminal justice background. There's not enough evidence saying he didn't do it. I'm not going to argue with Amy on this one. But is there, to me, again, Amy, I'm not looking at it as a criminal justice person. I'm looking at it as a juror. Is there enough evidence to say, and maybe it wasn't him? Like, is there a reasonable doubt that it was him? Because if not, I mean, what do we even have to, I don't know. I'm definitely being sarcastic. All right. No, I do not. Hey, shout out to Whitney. She says it's your channel. Yeah, I'm being sarcastic. Let's see. Breezy says, seriously, the legal process and the law, it says guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I don't want to be in an echo chamber. Like, y'all just want to be around people who agree with you all the time. Oh, Billy, listen. Billy, I'm about to block you from this channel. Well, Billy said, say Yellow Wolf is the GOAT or I'm out of here. You stop it, man. Amy says, can you say 110% he is innocent? It doesn't have to be 100%, Amy. That's what is a reasonable doubt? What percentage is a reasonable doubt? If you put a percentage on that, then I'll answer your question. So let's focus on, can I say 110% he's innocent? I can't say 110% that he's guilty. I can say 100% it's not a great look, but Amy said, I'm done with your channel. Bye. Oh, no. Amy's leaving. Whitney Renee said, you just said it. If we put a percent on reasonable, what is it? Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Monica says, so you say he's innocent? I say I don't know that he's guilty. She said the burden, Mike, is correct. The burden is not 100% correct. You're presumed innocent until proven guilty. They haven't proven to me that he was the one that did it. Shout out to Wonders One says, chill, classy. That's what makes the channel robust, is the difference of perspectives. Yeah, I was being sarcastic. I don't give a what anybody wants me to say. So yeah, I didn't get here by doing what everybody wanted. So we're all good. And Linda will be back. Or she'll go find somebody that agrees with her all the time. Let's see. Trish says, if there is reasonable doubt, the jurors should find him not guilty. It's that simple to me. That's what the jurors are called to do. And Amy said, and my 110 was sarcastic. Yeah, so let's put, y'all tell me in the chat, put a percentage on reasonable doubt. So there's 100% doubt, right? If you 100% doubt it, what percentage of that 100% is reasonable doubt? Is it 45%? Is it 49.99%? Is that reasonable doubt? Is it 10%? What percentage of reasonable doubt is doubt? Because to me, it's case by case, right? So is there reasonable doubt that the guy who ran up on Dolph and had a hat on that matched the one that Justin Johnson was wearing, had the same, was sagging, I guess, and had the same boxers, the same clothes on? Is there reasonable doubt that Justin Johnson was the one who did that? To me, I have to say yes. In this specific situation, because I don't think it's a percentage thing. Okay, so D says 49.51. 1% doubt is doubt. Is it reasonable doubt though? Shout out to Only Keys. Lauren's up in here, says any. Does not have to be a certain percentage. So you're saying 1% doubt. I disagree with that too. I think reasonable doubt is, I think if y'all want to go to the 1%, to me that would yeah, I don't know. Steph says, we love you even when you're wrong, E. Yeah, and I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just giving y'all my opinion. Northside said, classy. He was on camera, but his face wasn't clear, and the last dude on the stand made it look a little suspect. You only need 1 out of 12 people to raise an eyebrow, and boom, you got a hung jury. Exactly. Amy says those legal authorities who venture to assign a numerical value to beyond a reasonable doubt place it in the certainty range of 98 to 99%. But how do you measure that percentage in the mind of a juror would be my question. So again, I ask, what is that 1 to 2%? Is it because you're saying the reasonable doubt, your doubt has to be at 98%. So you just have to say, oh, well, there's just this little thing I think is off. Y'all, the law states what reasonable doubt is. Those legal authorities. Oh, okay. I already read that. More likely than not. So Omar says he told though draws don't make a case. Not what you know, it's what you can prove. I haven't seen any proof that Justin shot young Dolph. You're right though, it's different in every case and every juror. In that case, I can agree with you. Chantel says Mike and Quez did it. Shout out to Casey, your channel, your opinion, say what you like. Petty people will act like they are going to leave and never come back, but will be the first to come back and comment if your prediction was wrong. Yeah, I know that. This is nothing new, y'all. I've been doing YouTube for a while. It's fine. Amy says they instruct the jurors that beyond a reasonable doubt, it being 98 to 99%. There's been too many cases where we've seen this play out. We've seen this exact scenario play out, and there's been evidence after evidence after evidence. There's even been fingerprints, prints, and blood, which we don't even have in this case. And it's come to find out later that the person that was implicated and we had all this evidence for was not guilty. So again, as someone mentioned in the chat, the burden of proof is on the prosecutors. So even though the law is the law. But I cannot say 1000% that well, that's going to be a bad analogy, but that if my life depended on it, hey, did Justin do this? Was he the one that pulled that trigger? I'm going to be like, so it's hard. I wish they would have had blood and fingerprints in the car. I wish they would have had something other than, oh, he's wearing the same clothes and this dude that says he shot young Dolph said he was there. Amy said, y'all mark this down. This was the day my heart was broken. Angela said, wow, it's way too soon. What time did the jury start deliberating? About an hour and a half ago. So I think we're going to hang out until they give their verdict. We've got more of the trial that we can watch. Aaron Spears said it's 1000% he did it. Logics. How many times have we heard that, Aaron? Y'all have to remember. If you want to say that, that's fine. I just disagree. How many cases have we seen? Man, 30 years later, video evidence showed him there. There was a time gap of 10 minutes. He could have been there. There was a gentleman that looked like him that was wearing what he was wearing. Come to find out, that wasn't the guy. No, the verdict's not in yet. Did Justin take the stand? That's a great question. Let's go ahead and go into what happened yesterday. Great conversation, though. I appreciate y'all having a conversation and that y'all aren't leaving. Amy's heart is broken. Thank you, Kid Jason. 9/26/2024. Y'all are hilarious. Mike Bree says, Classy, are you able to collaborate with the other jurors, or will you stick to your guns? What do you mean by that? Oh, y'all are talking about OJ. Rest in peace to OJ, I guess. Casey Anthony. This not the case where that happens. Here's my... All right, fine. We'll do this. And shout out to Law and Crime. Shout out to Law and Crime. We're going to burden of proof here. Yeah, and exactly. Amy's right. Y'all have to remember, I'm looking at this not from an average layperson. I'm looking at it from a different perspective. Yeah, Amy is completely and totally jaded because she knows and understands legal system way more than I ever could. All right, here's what we're gonna do, y'all. Y'all ready for this? Check this out. Let me double check and make sure we don't have a verdict yet.
The judge has instructed each and every one of them is they cannot film y'all at all. When those cameras were clicking when you stood up to take the oath, they were taking pictures last week. We don't have the big windows looking out into the city.
Okay, stop. See this guy right here? See this gentleman right here? Y'all see him? Let me know in the chat if you can see him. I'll wait for y'all to respond. Amy said the burden of proof is made up of two relative parts. Burden of production, proving enough evidence to make a decision rather than having a ruling based on something else. Burden of persuasion, the standard of proof such as preponderance of evidence or beyond a reasonable doubt. Okay, y'all can see that. and that ill kid Jay is jumping the gun. Who is this person right here in the hat and the sweatpants and the hoodie? Who is this? Do y'all know who this is? And that ill kid Jay said that's Justin. Okay.
Let's watch.
So we already have Mr. Cornelius Smith's testimony. He said he was holding the Draco.
Mr. Johnson, get out of the car.
And then this is, y'all know who this is? Kick and Wing said, hell, it could be you, Classy. No, I have a very solid alibi for where I was at that time. So it's not me. You got a mask. It could be anyone. Some of y'all are saying kinda. Wow, it got really quiet in the chat. What happened to y'all? What happened to y'all 98%ers? Who is this guy right here? Okay, G says it's Justin. And then it says it's Quez. Sean says preconceived notion and bias. Dennis says that's Lil Mike. Okay, so for those of you who are saying, a lot of you are saying, I can kind of see who it is. I don't know who it is. Monica says, yes, you can see who it is. That ill kid, Jay says that's Justin. Okay, my question to you would be, how do you know this is Justin? How do you know beyond a reasonable doubt that this guy right here is Justin? Sean said, I don't know what it is. Anonymous says that's Lil Woody. He got a mask on. That ill kid Jay said, because I'm biased, and the jury is going to be biased. So I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. John says, all you can see is the clothing matching. Mixed Chick says, I see a light-skinned dude. Angela says, you can't see the person to determine who it is. So this here is my reasonable doubt. Because there's a lot of time. Let's see, this is 12:23 right here. And then we go forward to this point where they supposedly pull up and get the med kits. Ah, dang, they don't have the timestamp on this. That's annoying. But for me, again, listen, y'all, I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a regular old person who enjoys learning about the law.
But he also works security for Dolph. In fact, as Marcus walks in,
For me, this is an issue. Because I don't know I have no idea who this is. Shout out to Steph. Oh man, she said I see chocolate. Oh my gosh. Monica says no. I was saying yes to the question that I don't know. Oh, I see Monica. Yeah, and Puerto Rican Gloria says I can't tell who it is beyond a reasonable doubt. That's Lil Mike, Big Quez, and Rico. See. And again, I mean, y'all call me names if you want to. I'm sure that the comment section is going to kill me after this, but I don't know who that is. And the prosecution to me hasn't proven that this is him. They said, oh, well, he had some clothes and he was wearing these clothes 30 minutes before and he had his daughter in the car. And then he was wearing these clothes 30 minutes before the shooting happened. Then he drove out, and where he was located at the time was 30, what did he say? It was about 15, 20 minutes away from when the shooting happened. Then he's saying, so the prosecution's saying he took the car, dropped off his daughter, and this is all within 30 minutes, picked up old boy at the same time, drove to the cookie shop, put on the mask, put on gloves. He had to have been wearing gloves or done a great job of cleaning this up when he drove the car to drop off his daughter because they didn't find his fingerprints or DNA. Then within that time frame, he drove to this cookie shop. He was able to find and locate and follow young Dolph and do this. This is tough for me. I'm sorry, y'all. I know y'all aren't going to like this one. Good afternoon to everybody who's in here too. Good to see y'all. Let me see what else y'all are saying. Then we'll watch some of the day three footage from this. He said, stop yelling at us, Northside. Northside said, doubt. Northside also said, classy. Let's be real. If that man's face was clear in the camera, he would have been fighting to get a plea deal. He went to trial because his face wasn't showing. That's enough for the defense to get reasonable doubt. I agree. Black Panthers in here said, I see brothers get locked up for less than that. I was just talking about that, Black Panther. For real. Classy the chocolate criminal. Oh my God. No, I'm not going to say that on YouTube. There's only one crime I'm guilty of. Let's see. Angela says, I honestly can't tell who it is. I can see his thumbs. That frozen shot looks like his cell phone in his pocket. So did they track that? Yeah, he gave the phone to his brother and then they were able to get the phone from his brother, which we're going to hear about when we watch more of the trial here in a second. Kicking Wing says, also with the phone records don't show what the phone records don't show, but where his phone was. He could have dropped it off and left his phone in there. John says, do we know what the jury makeup is? No, we don't. I just checked. Trish says only a mama only know that's her child. Becky says, Classy, I have respect for your opinion. I only caught pieces of the closing arguments. I'm sure you're right on. You're skilled on crime and trials now. Funk said so. Oh, shout out to Becky. I appreciate that. So she caught the closing arguments. That's interesting. You know what? That's what we should do. Instead of watching the video from yesterday, let's go ahead and check out these closing arguments and see what they say. And then if we have more time, we'll go back and see what happened yesterday. But yeah, Becky, I'm just looking, you know who's on the jury? Regular people. They don't got a bunch of Amy's up there, as wise and as smart and as knowledgeable as she is. They got a bunch of Classies up there. They got a bunch of regular folks up there. So I'm just thinking as a regular folk. Let me see if I can find closing arguments here.
You may consider the following factors: how the witness looked, acted, and whether the witness appeared to you to be telling the truth when he or she testified. Was the witness able to see or hear clearly? How long was the witness watching or listening? Was anything else going on that
let me run this back a little bit.
distracted the witness? Whether the witness was in a position to know about the matter to which he or she testified. In other words, how well.
Here we go. Billy said object to Becky's hearsay. That's funny. What are y'all voting so far? Most of you are saying he's guilty. I don't know. I haven't seen enough. Alan said the other guy didn't do it then. Well, I mean, he said, yeah, it was me. If you want to confess, hey, listen, if you want to confess to a murder, I will take that all day. No reasonable doubt here. If you want to take the punishment for somebody else, go ahead. That's on you, man. So are you saying that whatever the shooter said won't hold up? No, I'm not going to believe somebody who's trying to get a plea deal.
Your Honor, the defense rests.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard the proof in this matter. What you have had in your seats, is a jury charge. This is my portion of this trial. It's the law. Now the law states that I have to read it to you. Please don't think I am insulting your intelligence by reading to you. I know you can read for yourself.
Can y'all hear okay? I never checked the sound.
You all have to hear it at the same time. Okay. That is your copy. Feel free to write on it. I have the official copy here that will go back with you to the jury room.
Yeah, rest in peace.
But feel free to make any notes that you'd like to make, and any changes that I have to make that I see that need to be made will be made on the official copy. Okay. State of Tennessee versus Justin Johnson. Members of the jury, the evidence in this case has been completed, and it is now my duty to instruct you as to the law.
It's low? All right, hold on.
After I instruct you as to the law, the state and the defense may present their closing arguments. The law applicable to this case is stated in these instructions, and it is your duty to carefully consider all of them. The order in which these instructions are given is no indication of their relative importance. You should not single out any one or more of them to the exclusion of another or others, but should consider each one in light of and in harmony with the others. Duties of the court and the jury. The law makes it the duty of the court to charge the jury the law relative to the case on trial, and the duty of the jury to carefully consider all of the evidence delivered to them in the trial and under the law given them by the court, render their verdicts with absolute impartiality. No sympathy or prejudice by the jury. You can have no prejudice or sympathy or allow anything but the law and the evidence to have any influence upon your verdicts. You must render your verdicts with absolute fairness and impartiality as you think justice and truth dictate. The indictment in this case is the formal written accusation charging the defendant with the crimes. It is not evidence against the defendant and does not create any inference of guilt. Statements and rulings of the court. At times during the trial, I have ruled upon the admissibility of evidence. You must not concern yourself with these rulings. Neither by such rulings, these instructions, nor any other remarks which I have made, do I mean to indicate any opinion as to the facts or as to what your verdicts should be. Statements and arguments of counsel. Statements, arguments, and remarks of attorneys are intended to help you in understanding the evidence and applying the law, but they are not evidence. If any statements were made by the attorneys in this trial at any time that you believe are not supported by the evidence, you should disregard them. Along these lines, the opening and closing arguments of the attorneys are likewise not evidence. You must base your decision in this case on the evidence that was actually presented in this court, not on the statements of attorneys. Furthermore, the questions the lawyers ask the witnesses are not evidence. You should not think that something is true just because one of the lawyers asks questions that assume or suggest that it is true. Jury, judges of facts and law. You are the exclusive judges of the facts in this case. Also, you are the exclusive judges of the law under the direction of this court. You should apply the law to the facts in deciding this case. You should consider all of the evidence in light of your own observations and experiences in life. Presumption of innocence. The law presumes that the defendant is innocent of the charges against him. This presumption remains with the defendant throughout every stage of the trial and is not overcome unless all the evidence in the case you are convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant is guilty.
Say it again, Judge. Say it again.
And is not overcome unless all the evidence in the case you are convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant is guilty. Burden of proof. The state has the burden of proving the guilt of the defendant beyond a reasonable doubt, and this burden never shifts but remains on the state throughout the trial of the case. The defendant is not required to prove his innocence. The state must have proven beyond a reasonable doubt all of the elements of the crime charged and that it was committed before the finding and returning of the indictment in this case. Reasonable doubt.
Here we go.
Reasonable doubt is that doubt engendered by an investigation of all the proof in the case and an inability after such investigation to let the mind rest easily as to the certainty of guilt.
To let the mind rest easy as to the certainty of guilt. Y'all, I couldn't do it. As a juror, I couldn't do it. My mind would not rest easy. I'd be like, dang, you know, as I was saying to A in the chat, there's a lot of people that got out of the car when they pulled up to the house to get the med packs. What happened in between there? Dang, you know, I really can't see him. Say it again, Judge.
For the finding and returning of the indictment in this case. Reasonable doubt. Reasonable doubt is that doubt engendered by an investigation of all the proof in the case and an inability after such investigation to let the mind rest easily as to the certainty of guilt. Absolute certainty of guilt is not demanded by the law to convict of any criminal charge, but moral certainty is required, and this certainty is required as to every element necessary to constitute the offense. Crimes charged and pleaded. The first count of the indictment charges the offense of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Embraced and included within the offense are the lesser included offenses: facilitation to wit, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. The second count of the indictment charges the offense of first-degree murder. Embraced and included within the offense are the lesser included offenses of second-degree murder, facilitation to wit, first-degree murder, facilitation to wit, second-degree murder, voluntary manslaughter, aggravated assault, facilitation to wit, voluntary manslaughter, facilitation to wit, aggravated assault, simple assault,
It's a great point, John.
facilitation to wit, simple assault. The third count of the indictment charges the offense convicted felon in possession of a firearm. The court will now explain to you the law applicable to count 1 in this indictment. Conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Any person who conspires to commit an offense is guilty of a crime. For you to find the defendant guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, the state must have proven beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the following essential elements. That the defendant entered into an agreement with one or more people to commit the offense of first-degree murder. It is not necessary that the object of the agreement be attained. And that each of the parties to the conspiracy had the intent to commit the offense of first-degree murder, and that each party acted for the purpose of promoting or facilitating the commission of the offense of first-degree murder agreed that one or more of them would engage in conduct which constitutes the offense of first-degree murder, and that one of the parties to the conspiracy committed an overt act in furtherance of the conspiracy. An overt act is an act done by one of the parties to carry out the intent of the conspiracy, and it must be a step toward the execution of this conspiracy. Intent means that a person acts intentionally when it is the person's conscious objective or desire to cause the death of the alleged victim. Conspiracy is a continuing course of conduct which terminates when the objectives of the conspiracy are completed, or the agreement that they be completed is abandoned by the person and by those with whom the person conspires. The objectives of the conspiracy include, but are not limited to, escape from the offense, distribution of the proceeds of the offense, and measures, other than silence, for concealing the crime or obstructing justice in relation to it. Abandonment of a conspiracy is presumed if neither the person nor anyone with whom the person conspired does any overt act in pursuance of the conspiracy during the applicable period of limitation.
Northside said, Classy Dolph was a big figure. Oh, where is that sound coming from? That's something else playing? Oh, okay, it's this one. My bad. He said Dolph was a big figure. Pause.
Hey, yo.
They're going to find him guilty on the base of bias. If they don't, Memphis is going to burn down. They're going to riot, and the mayor and the powers that be don't want that. Well, the jury isn't from Memphis. Jury don't give up. And if y'all know how, what's the word I'm looking for? How tumultuous like interstate rivals are in Tennessee specifically. You'd be surprised. You go a couple counties over and they don't mess with other counties. So the jury is not from Memphis. So I guess that's something I should have mentioned earlier as well. So that's something for y'all to keep in mind.
If an individual abandons the agreement, the conspiracy is terminated as to that person only if and when the person, those with whom the person conspired of the abandonment, or the person informs law enforcement authorities of the existence of the conspiracy and of the person's participation therein. However, mere presence is not sufficient to support.
Nashvillians cannot stand people from Memphis. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. Sean said the jury's from Memphis. They don't give a fuck about Memphis. They don't care.
A conviction. Facilitation to wit conspiracy.
They don't care nothing about no Dolph. All they know is Kenny Chesney and Taylor Swift.
Facilitation to wit conspiracy to commit first-degree murder is guilty of a crime. For you to find the defendant guilty of this offense, the state must have proven beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the following essential
I love
elements.
Nashville, man.
That the defendant knew that another person intended to commit the specific offense of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, but did not have the intent to promote or assist the commission of the offense, or to benefit in the proceeds or results of the offense. And that the defendant and that the defendant furnished substantial assistance to that person in the commission of the conspiracy, and that the defendant furnished such assistance knowingly. Conspiracy to commit first-degree murder has been defined on page 4. Knowingly means that a person acts knowingly with respect to the conduct or to circumstances surrounding the conduct when the person is aware of the nature of the conduct or the circumstances, or that the circumstances exist. A person acts knowingly with respect to a result of the person's conduct when the person is aware that the conduct is reasonably certain to cause the result.
All right, Judge, you're doing a great job of laying this out, but we want to hear closing arguments. Y'all know. Judge is like, hey, guys, this is what you need to consider. Make sure you look at this. Make sure this. All the evidence. You know, we spend a lot of money on this trial. Memphis ain't that big. Make sure you do the right thing. Here we go. The defense is up first. We are now 2 hours in.
It's good to see y'all again.
Deliberating.
This is the last time you're going to have to hear from me. And as I see all of your faces, I know that's something you're looking forward to. And that's okay. I know that you all want to get back to your lives. And I can tell you on behalf of Mr. Johnson that your attention during this trial is greatly appreciated. What you've had to set aside in order to provide this service, I have no doubt that the court and Mr. Hagerman, Ms. Iris, all of us agree that you're indebted to you for that. Because like I said in opening, this is important. And you're about to have to roll up your sleeves and go to work. And it's going to be a difficult job. This young man's fate is in your hands. The concept of justice, right? We talked about that in Fort Dyer. We talked about that again in opening, right? And it's in your hands. Meting out justice. And it's difficult because what you've heard is the tragedy of someone losing their life, of their family members not having that person in their life. And that is terrible, and the court will tell you, as terrible as that is, you can't consider that when you're determining guilt or innocence in this case. But it's heavy. Now, on the other hand, you have Mr. Johnson. This young man that you heard in the evidence is a young man, aspiring rapper, wanted to make it as a rap artist. When you're going back through these exhibits, you're going to see a picture of him in front of the house on Bradley. You know, engaged in a music video, right, for his rap. Hat kicked to the side, kind of grin on his face, because that's what he wanted to do. And his fate is directly in your hands. And like we talked about, it's never justice to wrongfully convict someone. And so that determination that you're going to make, beyond a reasonable doubt, is the heaviest one, maybe one of the heaviest decisions you'll ever make. And you've had an opportunity to sit through the trial and hear the evidence, observe the witnesses, and you've been told, keep an open mind. And I hope you have. And I'm sure you have.
Exactly.
And not to talk about the case. You know, the thing that you've been listening to for days, with people all around you that are going through the same thing, and then you have to be around them even when you're not here, and you can't talk about the elephant in the room. But today that changes. And not only are you allowed to talk about it, the judge has instructed you that you have to talk about it. And to engage in deliberations meaningfully. To listen to one another, to review the evidence that you've heard, to talk about it, and render a decision. But to the degree you're working together, what you never have to do is abandon your conscience. Now, I don't mean conscience like Cornelius Smith in that conscience, right? Because I don't think he really meant that when you heard from him. He said, oh, the reason I decided to tell the truth is I've got a conscience. And we all know that's not the type of thing you're dealing with. You take that more seriously. You mean it. He didn't. you've heard a lot of concepts, the terms of art and the law, the burden of proof, presumption of innocence. And when we started this, I told you, Mr. Johnson sits before you innocent. And I'm again telling you today, after this date has closed its proof, he remains that way. He didn't kill Adolph Ford Jr. He didn't conspire to kill Adolph Ford Jr. And he wasn't the man holding the pistol in the Makita video.
That's key.
And it's going to be up to you to decide that. To watch those videos. Watch them closely. They want to talk about those videos, and I'm encouraging you to study them. Give them a close look. The state doesn't want to acknowledge what I told you in opening, and that is similar, it doesn't mean the same. Plenty of people have gray sweatpants, black shoes with white soles, black hoodies. And as we learned through the proof, in Memphis especially, and elsewhere, Bass Pro has. You can look at it, if we had a window, you could look at it and you could see the Bass Pro, which is the pyramid here. You also heard testimony about it being a fad at that point in time. Famous rappers wearing it. Other famous artists. I think I mentioned Gwen Stefani wearing Bass Pro. One rapper has a signature Bass Pro hat. You heard from one of the detectives that they even interviewed someone who gave them a potential suspect.
Prosecution went first.
That wasn't Mr. Johnson, and said that person always wore a Bass Pro hat. You have to consider that. And then you have Sergeant Dabney, who, for the first time, and I think he acknowledged this, sitting on the stand, says, I think those underwear are the same. They're both blue. You look at the underwear from Tulane Apartments, you look back
Okay, gotcha.
at the Makita video, those are the same underwear. Look at it. Look at the steel shots. And for yourself, determine, can you tell if those are the same? And as jurors, you get to make that call. You get to look at it for yourself and compare those. We've heard a lot about it's not 1981 anymore.
Thank you,
And
Jenny D. You're right.
I agree.
I'll rewind it.
Right? We've got cameras, but like I told you in opening, what also has advanced tremendously since 1981 is the world of forensics. Right? Fingerprints, DNA, touch DNA. And you have to ask yourself, why is Justin Johnson's DNA nowhere in that car? There's DNA in that car. You heard a lot about they wiped it. Cornelius Smith said he wiped it. And we'll get to whether you believe that or not in a minute. Okay? But he says he wiped it. But he didn't. There's fingerprints on it. Kristen Garner's, Trayon Ingram's, and Cornelius Smith.
Like I said, I changed my mind. Not
There was
guilty.
DNA found. One of it coming back to Trayon Ingram. Right? Not Justin Johnson. Now, there's a lot of talk about gloves. Right? They made a big point to say, you see gloves in the video. Now, they want you to believe that Mr. Johnson's running around in his Mercedes, and the reason his prints aren't on it are because he's wearing gloves. And mind you, Cornelius Smith, when he said he wiped the car, never said he wiped the driver's side of the car. Okay? If you believe that. And they want you to believe Mr. Johnson's driving around this white Mercedes, including with his daughter. Look at those videos. You think he's not wearing gloves, and he's got a little girl in tow that would presumably be in that car with him.
That's right.
No DNA recovered. None. Now, during proof, it was interesting because they would show the Mercedes go into crosstown and the Mercedes leave crosstown, and they would show a video of Mr. Johnson getting out and walking in the building, or walking out of the building. There is no video that shows Mr. Johnson in that Mercedes.
None.
And you heard they had a reel, right? The video was a reel when they're doing crosstown, and when I asked it, I think it was Detective or Sergeant Dabney, about there was surely other cars going in and out this very time. And he said, yeah. But you have to ask yourself, was Justin Johnson ever in that Mercedes? So let's go to Kristen Gardner. Kristen Gardner gets up here and tries to tell you that. He tries to say he didn't know the car was stolen, that Trayon was driving around in the car. And at first, he acts like, even under questioning from Mr. Hagerman, that he wasn't even present when the car was exchanged, because he tries to say, well, Trayon told me. And if you recall, Mr. Hagerman had to kind of go back at him. I think he said something like, I can't tell you that. And then he eventually started answering some questions. You also remember that this is the same guy that went into law enforcement and said, I've never been in that car. I don't know a guy named Justin Johnson other than on Instagram. He's a rapper. And then suddenly, he starts evolving through the story. Still lying to law enforcement. He even looks at a video of himself, right, pumping gas, and goes, that's not me in the video. And he's like, okay, it's me. But they're trying to tell you Justin Johnson's at the Valero gas station, right, when he's pumping gas. Where is he? Now, they want you to believe that this shadowy figure up in the right, top corner was Justin Johnson. And that he was the other passenger in the Infiniti, but you can't really make out who he is. You have to rely on Kristen Gardner. That's what you have to rely on. And we talked a little bit about, proof beyond a reasonable doubt. And I said one of the ways that you could use to kind of understand it is proof so convincing that you would not hesitate to rely upon it in making the most important decisions of your life. And it's really simple, right? You look there and you go, would I trust Kristen Gardner with anything? If he told me something, would I believe it? The answer is no. Because the more he talked, right, the more you realize he and Trayon are in the Mercedes. They're driving around with a Draco rifle, assault rifle. The same one described as being held by Cornelius Smith in the shooting of Adolph Ford Jr. Their prints are in the car. He says they have, he said, a ton of guns in that car. And then he starts talking about how he's related to Dolph, and they were trying to dump the car before, right? And he's reaching out to Dolph's people to try to get rid of a car, which is the reason why after this happened, immediately, day after, he's calling Trayon going, my name's in this. My name's in this. Why would his name be here? And B, why couldn't he just say, oh, I have anything to do with this? And at Valero, you do see Trayon and Kristen. They're there front and center. Now, there's been a lot of talk about the phone and location. And in the state's argument just now, you heard her saying what the expert said. A phone using, a tower that could be, and he said could be. He said was in the service area of the Valero gas station. Or then he said, I didn't do any drive testing, so I can't say what the coverage area would have been. Right? And when you're looking at his slides, you've got that really thick PowerPoint exhibit, you'll be able to look at it. And you notice, right, that you're going to notice that the pictures are all really small. They're really zoomed in on the map. And he's talking about, like, this, do you think it's thorough? It's just thorough. I mean, he's going through all these calls. Look at what he's doing. I mean, but then you have to ask yourself, well, what happens if you expand the map? And then you realize, and this is the exhibit I entered, you realize he's not even counting all the data and calls, because when you show what he left out at 12:23, right, at the time immediately after Adolph Ford Jr. was shot, there are several towers that Mr. Johnson's phone gets off of that are, one's 3 miles away in one direction, the other one is 3.2 miles away down by the Memphis airport. And then he has to go, I left those out. Not a really good explanation for why, right? Important. When there are a group of fine people that are looking to find the truth and have to make this decision. and need to evaluate the accuracy of what he's telling you. And then you realize that when you talk about coverage areas and where things are in relation to these phones, somebody could be anywhere in a 3-mile radius, either any direction. And then you have to go, what is it? What does it show us? How did that help? How does that make you any more certain of someone's presumed location at a given point in time? Because he said it's not an exact science, and I'm not here to tell you that I can pinpoint where he is. And I didn't do drive testing, and I don't know. The next available tower is what a cell phone normally would look for, but also I can't even tell you if the towers were down at the time. That could make a difference. That could put you further out. I couldn't tell you if they were down for maintenance, if they were overburdened, and he said, look, if the tower's real busy, it'll direct you to the next tower. But what it doesn't establish is that Justin Johnson was involved in the conspiracy to kill Adolph Thornton. It doesn't establish that he killed Adolph Thornton or possessed a firearm.
I agree.
Now, a little bit about conspiracy and some more of the facts as you heard them from some of the other witnesses. Now, I have to take a little bit of an issue with the state on something that was said during their initial argument. And that is this. There was no evidence at all that Justin Johnson was present for any meetings
Ooh, great question.
discussing this hit.
Shout out to Let's Go says, how do you believe the jury will vote? That's a great question. And shout out to all the super chats coming in too. I appreciate y'all. I'll be reading super chats shortly. Shout out to Morris Loves, AV7. Oh, said classy the best. Let's go. And shout out to AV to the 7. How do I believe the jury will vote? I think they're going to say not guilty. I really do. Just thinking as a juror myself, I already went through it a little bit. I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing Justin pulling the trigger. There's not enough there for me. Simple answer.
What Cornelius Smith said was he met with Hernandez Govan and Jook, and Justin Johnson was not there. And then he said he met with Hernandez Govan and others on another occasion to discuss
might not
it.
have a verdict
And
today.
Justin Johnson was not there. So to suggest that he was present and agreed, where's the agreement?
I got you. Let's go. Thank you. Thank you for asking.
He wasn't there.
Amy is hurting
Now-
right now.
You get to Mr. Smith. The court has already instructed you about accomplice testimony and is already warning you that when you're considering that, you have to use caution. Now, you also have to apply the credibility factors that are in the jury instructions, but they're not an exhaustive list, right? Like we talked about in voir dire. Some of you, most of you, probably all of you have had to talk to somebody before and go, are they telling me the truth or not? And that's exactly what's here. But accomplice testimony is flagged because that person may have an interest in the outcome of this case. And you go, what is that interest? Well, Cornelius Smith, number one, told him. He had to admit, he didn't want to admit it, but he's meeting with the state. He's hoping to get a benefit on his own sentence. He's supposed to be telling the truth. But he's writing his sisters at the exact same time that he's meeting with the government, or the state rather, and telling them I didn't do this. I'm just lying to get the deal. I'm just lying to get the deal. Now, is that his conscience, like he wanted to say? No. That's him telling his family. His family. Why would he lie to his sisters? If he had a conscience, right? If he had done this out of the sense of, I did this awful thing, I feel awful, I've got to accept responsibility and tell the truth. No. But you remember, and it was kind of an interesting moment when he was testifying, because
Yeah, maybe.
at one point he says, oh, that's not lying, I was gaming. Gaming's not lying. And the unfortunate part of all this is he's gaming everybody, including trying to game y'all. That's the problem. And he thinks he's going to walk. I mean, and the only person in this case who got paid for this. Remember, there is no proof whatsoever that Justin Johnson got a penny. Cornelius Smith got 50 grand for a lawyer for killing Adolph Thornton and didn't have to give it back.
And let's be clear, it's most likely that Cornelius Smith was the one who actually killed him. He was the one that started shooting first. Young Dolph was laying on the ground. Cornelius had the Draco.
He didn't have to give it back. His lawyer was in the courtroom.
Shout out to April.
And I asked him, I said, you remember, I said, how could you? You didn't give it back. You grew a conscience. What's going on with you? And he went, well, I did it. Service is rendered, right? And the lawyer, he's talking about with his sisters. He's saying, oh, well, my lawyer's telling me to cooperate. I'm walking. I'm not doing it unless I can walk. Now, he was asked by Mr. Hagerman, have I ever told you you're not going to have to go to prison? And he said, no, you haven't. But you have to keep in mind two things, right? At the time he was giving all this information that made him valuable to come in here and talk, he thought he was getting out. That's when those letters are going out. Those letters are going out, and he thinks he's getting out because he's got the lawyer, they got the cooperator from Ali Bobo to walk. And that's the type of thing you have to remember when you're assessing whether you can rely upon Cornelius Smith and anything that he said.
Yeah, and the only reason I bring it up, Phenomenal RN News blog, is that he took a plea deal. That's the only reason I'm bringing it.
The guy that sat in that chair, and he was asked by Mr. Hagerman, when you killed Adolph Thornton, what did you feel?
And he most likely got a reduced sentence to testify
And
against.
like it
Justin.
was nothing. Said, I didn't feel anything. Let's try to get paid.
Yeah, YouTube's been tripping, Mixed Chick. Thank you for being a member.
And that's the guy that they want to put in front of you and say, believe it. You know, he went and talked about exchanging money. Right? Getting $800. Right? At one point said, so you find people that he got that Mr. Johnson somehow came back into town and he talked on the phone with him and brought $500. And then some other time, some other guy in a Chrysler 300 showed up and provided money to his girlfriend. Well, two things. One, that's not what Mr. Smith originally said to law enforcement. He said that Chrysler 300 came twice, and then Mr. Justin Johnson wasn't anywhere in sight. Well, and what do you know about the Chrysler 300? Jamarcus Johnson. Right? Did Jamarcus Johnson say, when he was here in front of you, did you ever hear the state ask him, did you deliver the money? As part of you being involved in helping Mr. Johnson, did you deliver money for him? I mean, he asked about the email, or the text rather, about Cornelius emailing Justin's phone and saying, essentially, I need money for the birthday party. That's because Cornelius Smith is lying from start to finish. And then for the first time
It's already
ever,
been 2.5 hours.
here in court, he says he wiped the car out. Who's in contact?
There you go, Glenn.
Who's in contact with Govan, according to Mr. Smith? Mr. Smith. Who's not in contact with Govan? Mr. Johnson. Did you hear anything about that?
Nope.
Now,
Take care, Steph.
when you go back in the jury room, you're going to be reviewing, obviously, these videos. And one of the things that you have to kind of ask yourself is timing. When you see Mr. Johnson in the elevator with his little girl leaving Crosstown that morning. And of course, you know there's going to be one exhibit that's the reel where the state had on it 11:51 in the morning. And then of course Mr. Hagerman came in, acknowledged the mistake to say that wasn't the right time. And put an officer on the stand, the lieutenant, to talk about getting access to the time, how he got the time sequence. But what that shows you is this. They don't know what time it was that day on that video. They don't know. I mean, mistakes get made. I'm not here to suggest that they don't. But you have to ask yourself, okay, the mistake got made, and then there's a timestamp. Okay, we want to put the timestamp one in. That seems like the logical choice. But then you have to listen to the lieutenant, right? And go, Lieutenant, what did you do to check and confirm that these were accurate times? Well, I looked at the live feed when I was in there. I had to have a technician, it's a computer, I don't understand it, but when I was there, I looked up at the screen and it appeared to be the right date and time. But not one person, you didn't hear from anybody that could say, that was confirmed, that's accurate, nothing happened with the system beforehand. And you even heard him say, it is not uncommon at all to pull surveillance cameras that have inaccurate date and times. Because you have to ask yourself about timing. You have to ask yourself about timing of leaving Crosstown, Mr. Johnson presumably going all the way to Whitehaven, if he's in that Mercedes and dropping his daughter off, right? And he said 20 minutes, something like that. Then he's supposedly driving all the way back to Wild Rose, 20 minutes, thereabouts, to pick up Cornelius Smith. They got to leave, then turn around and go to Bradley, and go back to the white truck, right? And then get out and be in front of the Makita Cookie at 12:21. Now, that part of common sense and your everyday experiences, what does that tell you about going one place to the other, right? Takes longer, right? If you're stopping places, if you have to park, if you're presumably dropping a child off, there's going to be some kind of an exchange of a child, maybe a discussion with a person, and you build all that in. That's a lot of time.
It's a lot of time.
And I would submit to you that one of the reasons that became an issue is about correcting that time is when the state realized that I was asking questions of that witness and asking him how long it would take to get from point A to point B to here to here to here. Because when you do the math and it's 11:51, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. And all this about Bradley, even the exchange of the Mercedes for the Infiniti, the dropping of the Mercedes at Bradley and picking up the SUV, whether somebody cleaned the Mercedes or didn't, who moved their Mercedes to the backyard, all of that, according to Cornelius Smith, should have been captured on Hernandez Govan's home security system. Right? He said Govan had a security system directly facing Bradley because that's why when he decided that he was going to go wipe the car down.
Give me 1 second, y'all.
Either the day it happened or the day after, he couldn't quite remember. He texted Govan and said he was coming through there because he didn't want Govan to mistake him for somebody trying to come up on him. I asked Detective or Sergeant Dabney, did y'all canvass? Yes, we canvassed the neighborhood. You know, he didn't do it personally, but he would have presumed they would have talked to everybody, including Hernandez-Govan. Right? We don't necessarily know if they did or didn't, because we didn't get to hear from Mr. Govan. You know, I asked Detective Browning if he was aware of any video from there. No. But if Cornelius Smith, right, is this person that's telling you the truth, because the truth doesn't change, then the fact that there were videos would have been known as early as March of 22, when he was meeting with law enforcement. And you know, I mean, I'm not saying law enforcement doesn't want to find out who did this. They would have absolutely went and looked. But we don't know. We don't know. And there's a lot that you should know that you don't. Because there's a material witness that should have been called by the state that wasn't called. Hernandez-Govan. And maybe some of you sat through this and thought, I want to hear what he has to say. And when I told you in the opening statement, I said, it's important, right, for you to weigh out and be able, as part of your duty as jurors, to be able to compare those two testimonies together. I'm sure some of you were thinking, yeah, that would make sense. I know we talked about that in voir dire, about getting two people to talk to kind of differentiate. You know, some of you that may have been a teacher, talking about that is one of the ways that you try to figure out who's telling the truth, who isn't. But you weren't able to do that. You weren't able to do that. You were deprived of that. And to be clear, as you heard about Hernandez-Govan, he was cooperating in this investigation. He met with law enforcement on at least 2 occasions pursuant to a proffer agreement, which meant he was allowed to go in and give information and not have his words used against him later. I don't have the ability to make good on a proffer letter. Only the state does. I don't have the ability to wave a magic wand and give him a reduced sentence if he comes in and testifies for me. So he's to my exclusion. He's to Mr. Johnson's exclusion, and ultimately to your exclusion. And if this is a truth-seeking function, why didn't the state call him? And it is. Your job is to find the truth of the matter. And ultimately to go, did they prove their case or not? But you were deprived of that. And the judge instructed you about a jury instruction. And that's the law. That's part of all the different things she told you. This is as important as any of them. And the law states that it creates an inference that the testimony of that witness, Govan, would have been unfavorable to the state. Now, it's up to you to decide whether or not he was unavailable, a material witness, and whether or not there should be the inference. But you're allowed to make that inference in here. And unfavorable, I would tell you, unfavorable to the state means favorable to Mr. Johnson. And knowing that, can you really render a verdict of guilty and have your mind rest easy? And not walk away and go, I just don't know if I did the right thing. Knowing that there was information out there that could have been presented to you and wasn't.
He's cooking.
That would have been favorable to Mr. Johnson. That I couldn't get you. Can you be morally certain in that instance? In order to be convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that Mr. Johnson is the one in that Nikita video, you have to consider everything. You have to consider what you heard. And you have to go, what I heard from Kristen Garner and Cornelius Smith, was that so convincing that I wouldn't hesitate to rely upon it in making those most important decisions in your own life? Will my mind rest easy if I convict this young man based on their word in conjunction with that video and the other videos and what you didn't hear? The answer is no. When you examine your conscience back there, after you've taken the time to deliberate, I think you'll find the answer is no. Two things I want you to remember, and I'm wrapping up.
Monica says, so Cornelius Smith took a plea deal for a reduced sentence and just chose some random dude as his accomplice. IDK, I'm on the fence. No, I don't think that's what anybody's saying. But also, is there proof to what he's saying? You have to think about that too. And they're not saying he's some random dude. They're just saying we don't know that he's the one, the second shooter.
The way the burden of proof works. And you've heard the statement, right? They ain't got nothing to prove. You may say that to somebody. I ain't got nothing to prove here. Justin Johnson, he doesn't have anything to prove here. They do. And we've all heard the term benefit of the doubt. Everybody likes to give somebody the benefit of the doubt. You are legally prohibited from giving the state the benefit of the doubt. You can't carry their water for them. Again, I appreciate it. This is, as I said, the last time I get to speak to you. The state's going to get one more opportunity to talk to you this morning. They get the last word. That's how the system's set up. But it has been my honor to represent Mr. Johnson in this case, and it's been my honor to present this case before you all. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We started this with a little Memphis talk. Those cookies are fire. I think that's how we started it. A little more Memphis talk. What y'all even talking about? What y'all even talking about? A missing witness? Fernandez Govan? A missing witness? Fernandez Govan? Absent material witness. And the defense wants to say that is Hernandez Govan? What do we know about Hernandez Govan? He's a defendant in the case. He is charged with murder and conspiracy to murder. Whether it's from television or whether it's in black and white at the bottom of that same instruction, a defendant has the right not to testify and incriminate himself. He is a defendant. He is not a missing witness. That would be insane. I could willy-nilly just start calling every defendant. And they just have to come in here, testify. That's crazy. It doesn't even work like that on television. It doesn't even work like that in black and white in front of you. That would be insanity, and that wouldn't be a legal system where you had a Fifth Amendment right. That would be an inquisition, actually what they used to call it, where you didn't have that right not to come in court. So the idea that the defense would call a defendant who's charged with this crime an absent witness shows you how desperate it is. And then we'll talk about things in isolation. Look at Kristen Gardner. I'm sure he knew that car was stolen. I'm sure he did too. Well, then how can you believe him?
Thank
Or
you,
look
Amy.
at Cornelius Smith. I'm sure it's not his conscience that made him talk. I'm sure it's not either. He talked because he's called. So don't believe him. Somebody made a mistake on one slide about the time, so it was corrected. So we can't believe video. You know, there's a word that actually exists because it's a thing. It's corroboration. It's corroboration is what they call it. Like, can you look at something somebody's saying and compare it to something else and then determine whether or not that person's telling the truth about it? Because that's how we should judge stuff. Did Kissing Gardner know the car was stolen? I bet he did. Does he think Treon Ingram actually paid for it because of something? No, we didn't pay for the car. They're riding around with guns in a stolen car, and they're trading it with their buddy, Mr. Johnson. But how do we know that? Corroboration. Is there evidence that shows us that? Well, there's the Valero video, which shows something strange.
There's no evidence that shows that.
Kissing come up in the car and then somebody else get in and drive off. Strange. Another little piece of corroboration, where's Justin Johnson's phone at the time? Well, in the area of the Valero station. Can you say it's in the parking lot? No, you can't. But it's in the Valero, in the vicinity of the Valero station. But my God, is there something else? Yeah. And this is what is ignored throughout the entire talk we just heard. We don't just have towers. We just don't have cell phone towers. We don't just have a Valero video. We just don't have a Haven Court video. We don't just have a Crosstown video. We don't just have a defendant who's like, Cornelius Smith, I'm guilty and so is he. That's us two in the parking lot shooting him. We got Justin Johnson's actual phone. We got his actual phone. In this case, it's been over so many times. Things that happen that are actually really dramatic just sort of happen. Because as soon as we saw the video of the Makeda shooting, as soon as you see the video of Crosstown of him leaving in the exact same outfit, in the white Mercedes, case is over. But we keep going. As soon as you hear from a codependent who's like, that's me in the parking lot shooting Dolph, I'm going to prison, and Justin Johnson's the guy next to me doing it, case is over.
No.
As soon as you see the Haven Court video, 40 minutes after the shooting of the two shooters and his cousin, case is over. But then things kept on happening. But if you didn't have all that proof, it would have even been more dramatic, or would have been dramatic. When they happened, I would see in your eyes a little thing, a little twinkle. We had his phone. And the night before, we had a text. The night before the homicide, we had a text. From who? Treon Ingram. To who? Justin Johnson. Sending him what? A picture of a white Mercedes. What do we have next? Another text. Justin Johnson. Treon Ingram. Dropping his location. Bradley. Gibson said they met on Bradley, and they drove to Valero, and they switched cars. That's corroboration. So do you have to be willing to trust Kissing Gardner with the keys to your car? Of course not. You think I trust Kissing Gardner with the keys to my car? But do I know he's telling the truth about this? Well, yeah, I do. Because it's on video of Valero. It's documented in his phone with literal pictures and locations. Is this plain as day? Do I have to believe that Cornelius Smith is talking because of pangs of conscience? No. No. He's talking because he got caught. Is he hoping that the truth will help him? Absolutely. He's hoping that the truth will help him. Is he going to prison after this? Absolutely. He's going to prison after this. Is there anything about his testimony that we can corroborate? Oh my goodness. What's the first thing he tells us about that day? Justin Johnson calls me. I think I missed a call, and then I get a second one. And what do we got? Justin Johnson's phone. You can delete your call logs, which he did from that day, but they're still in the phone. And what do you know? 2 calls to Cornelius Smith from him right before he comes and picks him up at Lamar's house. That's corroboration. What does Smith tell us? We go to Bradley directly after the shooting, but dump the cars. Dump the cars is important. Because here's another little, real tricky truth test. Justin's driving the white Mercedes. You see the video, of course, when he testifies to it. He says, we drive to Bradley. He hands me the keys to the Expedition. I jump out of the car. I get in the Expedition driving, while Justin parks the car in the driveway there on the front. Well, we know the White Expedition is also Justin's car. We're seeing it across town for testimony. What do we see at Haven Court? Cornelia says, from there we end up going to Justin's cousin's apartment. It used to be called 2 Lanes, Gospel Gardens, the address on Haven Court. We see the White Expedition arrive. And who's driving? The White Expedition. Justin's car. Who's driving? The dude with the messed up shoulder and the messed up shirt. Cornelia Smith. I mean, how do you make that up? How do you make that up? They pull up at Haven Court with Cornelia Smith driving and Justin in the passenger seat, just like it had to happen, just like Cornelia Smith told you when he testified. We do the shooting. Justin's driving the white Mercedes. He hands me the keys to the Expedition. He gives Bradley. I jump out. I get in the driver's seat of the Expedition. Justin parks the Mercedes, jumps in, Haven Court. And what do you know? That's what we see. And what do you know? If you're lying, that detail is almost impossible to account for. Corroboration. We plainly see in the video, Haven Court. We plainly see them go inside. We plainly see Justin Johnson come out, meet this character in the Dodge Challenger, get some other clothes, get some bags, go in. We plainly see the Chevy Trax come, Angela Arnold, pick up Cornelius. We plainly see Justin get in his car, the Expedition, and the two pull out.
It's not a crime.
Is corroborated over and over and over. And that's so incredibly important as we do trials. That's how we make decisions. Corroboration. That's why we have evidence. That's why we don't just call one witness and say it's over with. We put evidence in front of you. And one of those moments, when this trial was just over again for the 5th time, was when we were showing the slide from his phone, from Justin's phone. Cornelia says right after the shooting, Justin calls and FaceTimes with somebody. He says it's a big joke. The guy that put the money down for this. Number 2 is Steve and G. The guy that put his on the other artist too. Cornelia says, it's FaceTime. Spelling out Dolph with your hands. And what do we find in Justin's time? I mean, delete the stuff all day long. He did. Whole day. November 17th. Delete it all day long, but it's still in there. A call and FaceTime interaction with him. Justin Johnson with Big Joe. Who they do? Cornelius does it. And there you see it in black and white. It's not 1981, no, that's true. Call on camera and everything else, but you're also walking around your pocket with a phone that you can delete a call log, but it's still there. The times you called Cornelius Smith that morning, still there. The time when you called and then FaceTime with Big Julep right after the murder of Dolph, still there. The videos from Haven Court that show you arriving, still there. The videos of Haven Court that see you changing clothes. Did he have enough time to do it? Yeah, he had enough time to do it. He left crossing at 10:51. He had over an hour and a half to go drop off his kid 20 minutes away and drive 10 minutes. Total trip probably take you 30 or 40 minutes. Yeah, you have enough time to do it. We saw him do it. Memphis Talk? All the times. All times. Before the murder, we see him at Crosstown in the murder outfit. Similar clothing? No. Identical clothing. Patch on the legs. That's pro hat. Everything. Before the murder. The Mercedes. Similar Mercedes? No. Back end damage, just like we saw in the video. During the murder? Again, caught on video. White Mercedes, back end damage. The exact same clothing across town. Looks like him. Right-handed like him. Gloved up, like Cornelia said. Driving away from the murder. Who you call it? Who you texting? Big Joe. Caught before. Caught during. And then caught after. Not even court. Video of them arriving and leaving. Caught before, during, and after. That's called being caught all the times. All the times. He's literally caught before, during, and after. Caught all the times. And then what does he do? Then what do we have? Another Memphis phrase. Get on down. Get on down. Cross town the last video. Packing my suitcases to head out of town. Packing my suitcases to head out of town and get on down.
Yeah.
Like the police tell us, on manhunt. Not just in Memphis, well beyond Memphis. As Jamarcus tells us, he's going in and out of town. as Jamarcus tells us, he sees pictures on social media, Rolls Royce, stacks of money. Get out of town, get on down. The crime has been committed, Dolph has been killed, and we literally see him at the elevator with his suitcases getting on down. Flight can create an inference of guilt? Well, yeah. Well, yeah. This case was over when you saw the videos. This case was over when you heard from the co-defendant. This case was over when you saw him at Crosstown with the suitcases leaving, knowing that the manhunt was coming, and he was out of town and leaving. Really. Really. Now it's time for us, then. Now it's time for us to get on down, but we don't get on down by fleeing. We don't get on down by hiding. We don't get on down with pictures of Rolls Royces and stacks of money. We get on down by doing what's right and doing our jobs and looking at the evidence, the witnesses, the corroboration, and applying the law to those things. We get on down by doing justice. We get on down by saying you are called all the times. You are called all the times and you're guilty of all the things. Conspiracy to commit murder? I just heard, okay, let's at least cut him a break on the conspiracy to commit murder because man, he wasn't there for at least like one of these meetings with Big Jook or something. That's what I just heard. Let's cut him a little break on the conspiracy to murder because he's not at this meeting with, Big Jook and Govan and Cornelius. So let's cut him a little break on that. That's what I heard. Let's cut him a little break on that. There's no requirement in the law that every conspirator have to be at every single meeting with each other. There has to be an agreement, an understanding. And there was clearly an understanding. Big Jook is going to pay money to take out PRE artists, and at the top of that chain is Dolph. Now, does he demonstrate any understanding of that? Is there anything he does that shows he's part of this understanding that this is going to happen? Yeah. He literally shows up with gloves and guns, has a white Mercedes he gets from Treon, has Cornelius driving next to him, and they drive and go do it. So the idea that, okay, he committed the murder, but give him a break, no. He's guilty of the conspiracy just like they're all guilty of the conspiracy. And of course he's guilty of the murder because we watched it on video. Last short thing. Just one there. You two real. Dolph, you two real. He rapped about what he calls come on. What he saw in the neighborhoods, what he saw in his family. Growing up. Too real. He rapped about people that he had a rivalry with. Too real. Dolph, too real. Included disses with dangerous people like Big Jook. Too real. Too real.
Still no jury yet, y'all.
Too real. Last moments of his life, last seconds of his life. How long was the video take? 30 seconds? Too real. Dies on the floor in the neighborhood cookie store in Orange Mountain. Too real. Your family misses you. Erica and Mia, the kids. You too real. This is real. This is too real. And when the killer, 1 for 2, is caught on video, all the times, we even watch it get on down, it's time for us to be real. And we don't need Memphis off of that. It's called just do what's right. It's as simple as that. Just do what's right.
We might not get a verdict today.
Justin Johnson killed Adolph Ford Jr. November 17th. We watched it happen. Eddie Smith, Justin Johnson, Hernandez, Govan, Big Jook, they all conspired to have it done. And then it was done. November 17th, 2021. And as he did, he was already convicted felon. He should be found guilty of all counts. We do what's right. That's how we do Guilty conspiracy to commit murder, murder in the first degree, and convicted felon in possession of a handgun.
I got a few more pages of the charge to read to you. I'm going to pick up on page 29.
Okay, there it is. Excellent job by the prosecution. I think they lay it out. And where's John at? John asked me a great question. He said, after closing arguments, let us know if you change your mind. I have not. I will give the prosecution this. They're saying corroboration is what they're hanging their hat on. And I can definitely see the points that they're making. Again, my issue is the reasonable doubt. My issue is there's too much between when the shooting took place, shortly before the shooting took place. Well, let's even go back. There's too much between when Justin left the parking garage all the way up to when he pulled up to the apartments, allegedly. That's missing there. And I didn't hear that from the prosecution. All I heard is, oh, well, we're just corroborating this, corroborating that. And I don't see the hard facts showing that, yes, he was definitely 100% there. And that's, Amy said, Lord, please stop. Oh my gosh. It's going to be a long day. I'm not seeing it. And maybe I'm just being blind to that part of it. But no, I haven't changed it. Phenomenal RN Newsblog says, I would say go to Classy Chat, and there I was all day. Shout out to Monica. Seems like she's agreed. What does Elizabeth Wright say? I wouldn't be surprised if he takes the rest of the day and most, if not all of tomorrow. Wow. Okay. What else are y'all saying? Monica says, I think maybe a verdict tomorrow. Samantha says, Classy, I thought we saw him shooting the handgun. Did we? I saw a guy wearing the same clothes. Again, how many times have y'all heard stories of the guys wearing the same clothes, was in the location and in the area? And Justin just as easily could have gotten dropped off and picked up, y'all. Like, think about this for a second. Let's just go ahead and paint a different picture, right? Justin leaves the parking garage with his daughter in the Mercedes. We saw that, right? He goes, he's wearing the same clothes and everything. He goes and he drops off his daughter. As the defense was saying, he's chopping up with somebody and they're like, hey man, let me borrow your phone real quick. Yeah, let me borrow your hat too. We got to go do something. Okay. So they go. Cornelius and X person following young Dolph around. They pull up to the cookie place. Bang, 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 bang. And they're out of there. They go pick up Justin. Justin's like, hey man, what happened? Where were y'all at? No, we had to handle some business. Yo, what's up with the Mercedes? It looked fine. Hey, don't worry about it, man. It's all good. Come help us take care of this. EG says he borrowed the pants, shoes, and underwear too. I mean, they could have the same shoes and underwear. I'm just saying, crazier things have happened, and I don't know for sure that that's him. That's all. So y'all tell whatever story you want to. I personally don't know. We're going to get up out of here, though, before y'all kill me even more. I know Amy's about ready to shut this whole thing down. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Lord willing. I think this weather should hold up, but we'll see. Prayers and safety to everybody who's dealing with this storm. I know it's probably hitting Florida, the Florida coast right now. So y'all be safe out there. Take care of yourself. You only get one life. You got to take care of it. And I know we're going to be safe out here as well. Thank you to everybody who tapped in, liked the video, all the super chats that we read throughout the show. I will see y'all tomorrow morning. And then we've also got an episode of the Song of the Night Live tomorrow night. All right. Y'all have a great rest of your day. You know what to do. Keep growing. Keep pushing. Keep it classy. We gone. Peace.